y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the y'all don't really want it. Don't really want it. Y'all don't really want it with me. I know you shook, man. You ain't built for a skirt as in me. It's gon' sound like when I'm coming, when I'm coming, when I'm coming for ya. It's gon' sound like when I'm coming, when I'm coming, when I come for ya. It's gon' sound like yeah. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like yeah. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it now.
Singing our national anthem
Huh?
tonight, the Chanhassen High School Chorale.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watch, were so gallantly streamed.
They're nervous about them starting early, so they said you guys should run it at 6:57.
Yeah, we're already ready.
Oh, yeah, you're ready to go? Okay.
That our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome, Storm fans! Tonight we have Chanhassen Storm football versus Bloomington Jefferson here at Chanhassen High School. We're working about a 7 o'clock start time. It's the first game of this interesting season due to COVID. The last time these two faced off, the Storm won 24-6 on August 29th last year. The Storm finished 4-4 in the Metro West last year. And they were a very big, heavy rush offense last year. Jason Collins led the team with 386 yards and 4 TDs, averaging about 48 yards a game. Charlie Coonan on the receiving end led with 457 yards with 3 TDs, about 51 yards per game. And on the defensive side, Eli Mao with 79 tackles. And Chris Ewing led in the team with fumbles with 2. Tonight, there is a new starting QB for the Storm. Riley Funk will have the ball. Thanks for tuning in.
At a team that went 5-5, the Chanhassen Storm making it to the second round of the postseason after defeating this Jefferson squad. They're led by second-year head coach Cullen Nelson. The Storm on the field now.
Kicking off for
And for the Storm, the kicker is Eli Mao.
Jefferson Jaguars, number 3, Isaac Freitag, and number 1, Seth.
And obviously a lot of different protocols in place here tonight. Only 250 in the stands here. Looks like about half for Chanhassen, the other half for Bloomington Jefferson. So everybody has a chance to split it in whatever way they want, but in most cases it'll be split pretty much down the middle.
It's one of the rare times that you'll see the away side as full as the home side at a high school football game. Isaac Freitag and Seth Krakow back deep to receive for the Jaguars. They're standing on the 5-yard line. The kick coming from the left hash as the, again, kickoff specialist for the Storm, Eli Mao, is ready to go. Golden tops with the navy jerseys for Chanhassen. This kick a little short, taken at the 9-yard line, up across the 10 to the 15, out towards the 20. First hit comes there and dropped just shy of the 20 at the 19-yard line. So Jefferson comes to the field, led by their captain and senior quarterback Carter Hansen. Hansen, 71 of 128 last year for 55.5% completion. 746 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions during his first year as a starter. And now, this year, he'll be working with, as we talked about, Roosevelt Cage, the senior running back in the backfield, who's returning after a strong season a year ago. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left as the Jaguars begin on the left hash with their opening drive. Here, quick toss to the right side is caught. Nice grab there by Freitag, and the senior dropped out near the 25-yard line, so a 6-yard pickup.
Chanhassen comes out with a 3-4 defense, so 3 defensive linemen and then 4 linebackers, usually used when you have those athletic linebackers that can move around. They come up and back on the line a lot. We'll see that throughout the night.
On 2nd and 4, 2 receivers left, and the toss goes to the left side, and good yardage open for Cage. Cage down the sideline, across the 40, and he's tripped up down to the 35-yard line. So a 40-yard pickup for Cage on the 2nd down run. So they go to 2 of their favorites. Freitag was the leading and really only man in the receiving game who returned, who got the 6-yard catch to start. Then they pitch it to the left side there, and you get a big run for Roosevelt Cage.
Yeah, and not a lot of blocking to be done either. There was just kind of a mismatch. The Jefferson offense just found a big seam and was able to take advantage.
Blitz on, Roosevelt to the left side. He gets pushed back early. Now he pushes forward across the 30-yard line and is dropped near the 28. So a 6-yard pickup on his second run, and he is picking up good yardage on his early carries. Get another look here. So you get a man busting into the backfield, Jack Hombeck, but he wasn't able to make the stop as he had a blocker between him and the running back. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left off that left hash on 2nd down and 4. In the gun with the running back Cage on his right hip. Hansen looks right, throws left, caught near the 24, pushed forward to the 21-yard line. And that is enough for a first down. It's a 7-yard pickup.
It's a good job by Hansen identifying where the holes are on this defense. And what I mean by that is that this defense was really backed up. They were really giving a lot of a cushion there, and Hansen was able to use that to his advantage for the first down.
Colby Jorsham on the catch that time. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Handoff Cage. Not a lot of room in the backfield. They swarm him. Leading the pack that time was Ryan Mashka, the senior inside linebacker.
Yeah, this was really good anticipation this time by the Chanhassen defense. They were able to push forward, filling all those gaps. Really nowhere for Cage to run there in this entire play, and so a loss of a couple on the play, 2nd down and 12. Similar formation. Things haven't been too complicated for the Jefferson Jaguars in that regard, and certainly Coach Tim Carlson let me know that would be what we should expect to see throughout the course of the night. Here's a pass right side, dropped right into the hands of Sam Wozniak, and Wozniak could not hold on. And there would have been some room there for Wozniak. If you watch here, there was a lot of room there, a lot of cushion again. We're watching these defensive backs. They're really setting up the situation where they're waiting for the tackle to be made. Now on third down, they've really come up in a really different viewpoint here. Not a lot of room for those receivers on third and long.
2 receivers out to the left, 1 to the right. Rolling left is Hansen. Looking, he throws that lefty toss, caught near the 11 and brought down at the 10-yard line. It's a 13-yard connection, just enough for a first down.
As we watch here, the quarterback rolling free and a little pressure, but a nice job of Jorsham to find some room. Again, there wasn't a lot of cushion, but he was able to work his way away from the defender and find just enough for the first down. It'll be first down, not goal to go, just outside the 10, so they can pick up a first down.
That bootleg changes a bit when you've got a left-handed quarterback. Here, 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Hand off to Cage, looking left side. He gets hit by the linebacker who steps up, but spins forward near the 8-yard line. So Cage with a 3-yard pickup.
Mitch Cummins, the defensive back, coming up to make that play. Good blocking again up front by Bloomington Jefferson, but a nice job by the defensive back to come up and make the stop.
And Cummins has been active early for this team, getting involved in a lot of the tackles that have been made. Here, 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. On first down and 10, toss to the left side, and this run towards the pylon. He is in, touchdown! Cage scoring from 13 yards out.
As Cage, that was largely the same play that they picked up the 40-yard gain earlier, where the pitch came off to the left-hand side, just not a lot on the right side of the Chanhassen defense, and good blocking here. Watch this blocking out front. They're really grading the road, and Cage walks in almost unimpeded for the touchdown in the 6-0 lead.
I said 13-yard touchdown. That was an 8-yard touchdown run by Cage. Now for the extra point attempt. It is up, and it is good. Nicely done by Leif Kaiser. Excuse me, that was Aiden Atkins. Aiden Atkins does the PATs and the field goals. Kaiser we'll see in a moment before the kickoff for Bloomington Jefferson. 7-0 Jefferson on top. A very smooth-looking first drive for the Jaguars.
Yeah, no, that was very efficient, and they were able to do things both in the air and on the ground. We saw some of the big plays, obviously, from Cage, the 40-yard run, and then later on the 10-yard or the 8-yard run for the touchdown. But they were able to do some things and find some receivers early, and that loosens up the defense somewhat, which allows that run game to be productive as well. So we'll have to watch that to see as the game goes on if Chanhassen maybe picks one or the other. Obviously, Cage is the early weapon for Bloomington Jefferson, but as the game moves on, we'll have to watch to see how that might evolve.
The name we didn't say a lot was Eli Mao, the outside linebacker who is the leading returning tackler for this Chanhassen team, and a lot of those runs were to the outside. They were mostly to the left, which is the way that Bloomington Jefferson feels that they're stronger with some of the work they have over there. And guys like Lucas Kitzman at the left tackle position, Noah Williams at the left guard. Kickoff from Kaiser. This one picked up near the 12-yard line on the move by one of the up men. He'll move to the right side. With it is Coonan, and Coonan got some good space out across the 35-yard line. Pulled down from behind at the 36.
Well, a 25-yard return, and this will set up Chanhassen with some pretty good field position. You see, again, a nice seam there, and he was able to just find his way through, and so very good field position, the 36-yard line. That's a 24-yard return. And so Chanhassen will have the football for the first time.
Senior captain quarterback Riley Funk leads his team onto the field. We mentioned Jason Collins during our opening. He's in the backfield as well, standing at the left hip of his QB. 2 receivers to the right side. They've got a man stacked on the left, but otherwise open. The airman comes in motion. Toss going deep towards the right side. Near the right hash, it is incomplete. So close. They were looking for Coonan, who had the big return, but Junior could not reel it in.
Yeah, you couldn't have placed this any better. You watch Funk, another left-handed quarterback, floating it in there, and that is right on the helmet there. Just wasn't able to pull it in, was Charlie Coonan, and so a break here for Bloomington Jefferson. That would have been a long break, just like Cage had his long run. That was maybe an early opportunity for Chanhassen to pick up big yardage as well, but nonetheless, it'll be 2nd and 10.
3 receivers right side. One comes in motion again. This time the handoff, jet sweep to the left. Not finding much north-south room. He gets pushed to the sideline and is hit hard near the 32, 33-yard line. Looks like or rather the 37-yard line, so just a 2-yard pickup on the play.
Good pursuit here by Bloomington Jefferson. You see how they seal it off and really make the runner continue to go east-west, and then that allows Harrison Chappell, the senior defensive end, to finally close out and make the tackle. So 3rd down and 8 after a gain of just 2.
So after Kirchhoff's 2-yard run, under 8.5 to play here in the first, 7-0 Jefferson lead. Chanhassen on their first offensive drive, looking at 3rd and 7. Toss towards the left side. They're floating it up again. This time it is caught. Able to grab it at the 35-yard line. It's a 27-yard catch for Charlie Coonan. He comes up big after missing on that one earlier.
And after the first time when he couldn't wrangle it in, this one right on the money as well. This time Coonan was able to make the catch, but more importantly, stay in bounds. He was really dancing right along the sideline, and so was able to make that catch, had the awareness to make sure he got a couple of feet in bounds. Of course, in high school, you only need one, but he did pick up a couple, and the first down, Chanhassen's on the move.
I formation for Chanhassen, 2 receivers right. They hand it off, and now we got a running play to the left side. Good yardage, and it's pushed out near the 25. Looks just shy of a first down for Jason Collins on his first carry. It's our second running play, but for the first for the starting running back, and he is pushed out at the 26, so a 9-yard pickup.
Good blocking up the field there, calling out tight end Radke is one of them. Brendan Radke, the senior, getting nice blocking well downfield to clear the road.
From the left hash, back in the gun, is Funk. Man comes in motion. They use a lot of that motion. Now a handoff and good yardage straight up the middle. Dancing around tacklers and pushing up towards the 12-yard line. Jason Collins with a 14-yard pickup.
This is kind of an odd play. It almost looked like maybe some linemen might have been moving early, which threw off Jefferson, but nonetheless, nothing was called. And Jason Collins, we see him dancing through the defense and moving his way up, picking up the first down. Good run for Collins.
It almost felt like a delay, but the slightest of delays in that handoff to the running back. 2 receivers left side, I formation in the backfield as Funk gets under center. 7:24 to go here in this opening quarter. Handoff, run towards the left side as they've taken out the starter, and taking that one is Tucker Pinkerton. The senior got a few handoffs last year, and he gets a nice run for 2 yards. It felt like a lot of work to get those 2 yards, 2 yards up to the 10.
Yeah, it looked like a lot further than it was, but nice tackle there by Isaac Freitag of Bloomington Jefferson coming up to make that stop. But that's one of those plays where you do a lot of juking, and it looks like you're going to pick up a big gain, and in the end, not so much. But style points count nonetheless.
Jefferson fans will remember the name Pierce Opong, who graduated last year. He basically had all of the defensive stats for this team a year ago. So while they're returning a lot of guys, they're guys that are going to have to fill a lot bigger role than they did in the past. Pass to the left side on the rollout. It's caught for a first down, leaning towards the pylon. Delayed signal from our officials, and they're saying he was out of bounds prior to that. Now they confer, and touchdown. They had to talk it over, but the touchdown is awarded, and the score nicely between Funk and Brendan Radke, the tight end.
And you can see there Radke reaching out. It was like he was falling through. Let's watch now on the replay. His foot's in there. He reaches through. Well, I think they might have benefited from a call there, as it looked like that left foot was out, but nonetheless, doesn't matter. The official call stands. It's a touchdown, and Chanhassen a point after away from tying this one, which they do.
Yeah, point after is up and good. Nicely done by Eli Mao that time. So we are tied at 7 apiece, and the offense is having their way early to go down the field with good drives and even us up. So will we have this going all night, Nick? You think we're in for a shootout throughout the evening, or the defense? Normally when you start a season at any level, you expect the defense to be ahead of the offense, and certainly in a season where you had less practice, you would expect maybe that the defense would step up early, but we've seen big yardage plays and sustained drives for both So again, a 10-yard pass that time by number 2, Funk. Number 2, Brendan Radke. So, and again, that kick after is good by Mao. Teams back out onto the field for the next kickoff, and with 6:28 to go in the first quarter. Looks like we're going to change things up. No, he's going to put it on that left hash again. I don't feel like I've seen a lot of this, as Mao will kick from the side. It could mean that they're targeting one guy over another, but my guess is more likely at the high school level that Mao has a tendency to veer this to the right-hand side, so they give him some extra space.
Yeah, I would think that would probably be a more likely scenario here, but it could be a preference thing, too. There's a lot of reasons why it could be.
Kickoff by Mao. High in the air, taken at the 11-yard line to the 10, the 15. Touch near the 20, not brought down until he crosses the 25 and falls down at the 26. Nice job by Freetag to set up decent field position to start.
38, Brady Grandstaff. Number 55, Gabe Porthan.
So on the first drive, these visiting Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars handed off quite a bit to Roosevelt Cage. 5 carries for 55 yards. I think that's an average carry that any running back would take.
Be interested to see if they continue to attack the left side. We saw that Cage really looked comfortable on the left side on those sweeps and those tosses to the left. So let's see if they continue to work that side of the field.
They're slightly towards the right hash. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Man flanking the QB on either side as Hansen takes the shotgun snap, throws to the left. It's a floated pass and floats a little bit past Isaac Freetag, the intended target. That play looked good. Freetag had a lot of room to work with, and nobody was covering him, so he's just got to reel that in, but a little bit long on the pass from Hansen.
Well, in both of these teams, you talk about the defenses being maybe ahead or behind the offense, but what we do know about these teams is both of the defenses are lost a lot of production from last year, so we might have some new people in some new places, and there's a learning curve to that.
Toss to the right side, dodging around a couple of tacklers early, now hit hard at the 31-yard line. Cage picks up 4.
Similar to what we saw the first time when Cage would run to the right, there was just a lot more interference and a lot less room, and we saw that there again. Good pursuit from the Chanhassen Storm. Pedro Velasquez, the defensive back, in among others on that stop. So 3rd down and about 6 to go for the first down.
3rd down and 6 for the Jaguars.
From the right hash, with running backs on either side, Hansen barks out the play call. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. As he looks to the left, he's getting late signals in from his coaching staff, and he's going to move to the line, change things up. 3rd and 6 with 5.5 to go in the first quarter. Tie game at 7-7. Hansen takes the snap, pump fake, dodges around a defender. He's got 2 more chasing him. He rolls left and throws downfield. This one is incomplete, and he'll set up 4th down. Well, we're not going to have that shootout, at least on this drive. 3 and out for this Bloomington Jefferson team.
Well, pump fakes are good when you don't have a lot of pressure coming through. Eli Mao, as you mentioned before in the first drive, didn't get to say the first time, but Mao was able to get around and really break up this play. The pump fake needs to have protection in order to have time for the defense to be confused, and on that particular play, Chanhassen's defense wasn't confused, so the play ended up getting broken up, and we're going to have a punting situation for the first time today.
Yeah, Mao wasn't going to change his direction at that point. Here, the receiving man is back deep at his own 35-yard line. And this ball way over the head of the punter. He chases it back into the end zone. It's Hansen. Hansen will boot it away. It is fairly short, and Jefferson letting it roll. It could have been a lot worse, that's what we'll say, but it'll be knocked down at the 37-yard line. And so a 6-yard net on that punt.
Which they will take every time and twice on Sunday based on what happened here. That one was well over the head of the punter. And I thought at this point, when he got back into the end zone, he might just run out and take the 2 points because there were a lot of bad things that's going to happen there. But he turned lemons into lemonade on that one, and it turns out into a 6-yard net, which was probably the best case scenario that they could have asked for based on that snap.
Hansen did do a little punting last year, so He's back in that role this year. If we thought Chanhassen had good field position the first time around, here they go from the 36-yard line. Handoff and a run right up the middle. Picks up a couple, courtesy of Jason Collins.
On the carry. Tackled by number 77, Kashawn Kubal.
So it's been interesting to watch the two different approaches to the run game. As we talked about repeatedly for Bloomington Jefferson, they're moving Roosevelt Cage out to that left side. On the other end of things, Jason Collins seems to be an up-the-middle kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. And when he has been stretched out, he has not been as effective, but running up the middle, he has seen some room so far early.
Some movement along the line. We've got flags coming out. This ball thrown to the right side is caught. It's going to be minimal gain on the catch by Josh Oak. So Ock got a couple of yards on that play, but I'm guessing this penalty will be utilized by the offensive Chanhassen. Kind of a wide receiver comeback screen situation. He had offensive linemen moving downfield to try and set up some blocks. Got that defensive offsides, and it is going to be marched forward.
So what amounts to a free play there? If something really good happens on that little hitchback screen, you take that. Otherwise, you'll take the penalty.
It sets up a second down and short now. About 2 yards.
2nd and 2 for the Storm.
Storm split one man wide out to the left. He's been the favored target so far. That's Charlie Coonan. Two receivers to the right. Here's a handoff, and straight up the middle, there's room again for Jason Collins. Collins pushing forward as he crosses the 15 before he is taken down by a pack of Jaguars.
Yeah, little counter play there, and Collins was able to find some early blocking up ahead, and then once he gets past that initial line, that's all him. He's working through and weaving his way through and picking up the first down. Another good run for Collins on the inside, as we mentioned before.
15-yard pickup, that's his biggest of the day, so 4 carries for 41 yards. Very similar numbers to what we're seeing from Cage. So these running backs have carried the load, even though the big plays for Chanhassen so far have come through the air. Two receivers right, one to the left. Handoff, and a man goes right up the middle. Space to work with. He is taken down by the face mask as he crosses the goal line. Touchdown, Brady Grandstaff.
I don't believe there was a flag thrown on that, but that was clearly a face mask, but he's into the end zone nonetheless.
But it could be assessed after the kick, so I'm surprised there's nothing there. But what a run by Grandstaff, who wouldn't be denied even with that face mask.
Yeah, and so we've talked about the inside running game for Chanhassen. It's an equal opportunity employer, it looks like, as this a touchdown from Grandstaff to give the Storm a 13-7 lead.
And when you have multiple running backs doing a good job, there's one place to credit. That's the offensive line. Nice job by those guys up front. We've got a kick, and the offensive wasn't set, and the kick was good, but it's not going to count. So we'll do it again from a few yards back.
Legal procedure against Chanhassen, 5-yard penalty. Retry.
Yeah, it's not legal to have an offensive lineman running through the field during the kick. And so it will be a
move it back
5-yard penalty.
So Funk gets back down for the hold. And Mao will try it again from a little deeper. Snap and hold look good. The kick a little bit towards the right, but it hooks in there, and it is a 14-7 lead. So the home team gets the defensive stop, gets a short field, utilizes that advantage, and they have the 1-touchdown lead.
And a short drive for the Chanhassen Storm. Remember, they took over just at about their own 30, or at the Bloomington Jefferson 36 after the punt. So a short field. We've talked about how the offenses have looked good early. You don't want to give short fields in those situations, and that's what the Jaguars did. And so Chanhassen takes advantage of that, and now we'll see if Bloomington Jefferson can answer.
Still 3:54 to go in the first quarter. We've already scored 21 points in this game. Jefferson set to receive yet again. They started the half with the ball, and now they're being kicked to for the third time here in the first quarter. Mao setting up from that left hash.
Mao to kick off for Chanhassen.
Now, Grandstaff was a guy who wasn't carrying the ball last year for the Chanhassen Storm, but he was listed as a running back, and thought we might see him, and boy, did we see him on his first touch. He takes it to the end zone. Very nice job by the junior. Chanhassen really takes their time getting set for these kicks. I mean, Jefferson, it feels like they've been waiting out there forever. Here's Mao. The kick to Freitag. He takes it at the 12. It's been about the same spot every time. The 15 to the 20. He pushes into a defender and is ripped down at the 25. That was Gabe Porthen, the junior inside linebacker, making the tackle.
And all the kicks have pretty much been on the same side of the field as the hash, so it's not. We have not seen a reason why the ball twists or anything towards the middle or towards the right. It's just maybe a preferential thing there.
And so while the kicking team made Bloomington Jefferson wait, it's a little bit the opposite story. Here comes the offense for the Jaguars. Receivers out to the right. Wanzek and Freitag. One man out to the left. From the gun with Cage next to him, Hansen takes the snap. He's keeping, gets the lead block from Cage, tries to carry forward, and Hansen gets across the 25, so a yard on the play. A year ago, Hansen had 6 rushes for -2 yards. He did get in the end zone once, but this is not really his game, last year at least. So it was kind of strange to see a designed run play set up for him.
And Eli Mao in there to make the stop for Chanhassen. We saw Cage a couple of times early from that left side like we talked about. We have not seen that now in the last drive plus. Only one play so far here, but that time not set up either.
Play action. They tried to throw it over the blitzing defender, and it is incomplete to the intended target. They were looking for Harrison Chappell, but look at the speed off the edge here. Got a little piece of it, too, I think. Nice job there by Ethan Kim, the sophomore.
Actually looks Kenyatta Brown, rather, the defensive end.
You're correct.
Senior making the play.
Thank you.
Good ups there by number 81.
2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Hansen dropping back, pump fakes, now gets it away. He's got a man, caught at midfield and then dropped. Incomplete pass, they say, at the 49-yard line. Unable to hold on to that one.
And this looked like this was going to be a really drawn-out play as you see the receiver go up. And then a great stick there by Mitch Cummins, the defensive back, to really sting the ball right out of the receiver troop's hands. And it'll be 4th down again. So a nice stop after a long drive initially for Bloomington Jefferson. Chanhassen's defense has adjusted a little bit the last couple of times.
They've adjusted, but I think you called it out. We haven't seen the handoffs to Cage, which were what was most effective, that big 40-yard run and then some follow-up runs to put them in the end zone. Here, a big kickoff forces the return man back. He calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 30-yard line.
46-yard punt with no return. Yeah, I'm a little interested as Cage did not really factor into either of the last 2 drives, and so I'm really interested as to the reasoning or the methodology of that.
He's still out there, so you don't think there's an injury, or you wouldn't think there was an injury. By the way, nice punt by Hansen. When he gets the ball on a good snap, doesn't have as much trouble. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right as the Storm begin yet another drive. They lead 14-7 with 2:46 to go in the first quarter. Funk looking to pass all the way. He gets a pass along the left hash. It is caught across midfield. Nice grab on the move by Josh Kirkhoff.
26-yard catch. And again, nice play by Funk to throw, and he finds a relatively wide open receiver in Kirkhoff just right in between the seams. So he's behind the linebackers, he's in front of the defensive backs, and he's able to make the catch. And looks like we might have an injury on the field here for Bloomington Jefferson.
Kirkhoff, a guy who ran the ball quite a bit last year, getting involved in the passing game. Down on the field, that's Trey Jordan, the junior cornerback, who's getting looked at by the medical staff. So really nice grab there to bring it up to the 44-yard line. Everyone taking a knee on the home side, even though this is a visiting player that is down.
Of other events throughout the year as well.
And same across the way, except for the two alignments getting ready to take the field. Once again, the offense for the Storm and the defense for Bloomington Jefferson will be working without Jordan for a bit, but he is up and walking off under his own power, as you saw there. Last year, this Storm team averaged just under 19 points per game and only 212 yards per game. So they didn't have a dynamite offense, but the way the last two drives have looked and the way this one has started, they have found something early on here in the 2020 season. One receiver each side. This ball is snapped low and then taken directly by the running back off the ground. And Collins, a nice push, gets ahead to the 38-yard line, turns nothing into 6 yards.
Just the way they drew it up. A direct snap to Collins, not by intent most likely, but Collins was able to pick it up. He was likely to get the handoff there anyway, so he was probably expecting to run the football, but he was able to pick it up and pick up 6 yards, and that's the difference between what we've seen here tonight. There's been a couple of mistakes that have been made that have allowed Chanhassen to pick up little bits of yards like that, and Bloomington Jefferson, their mistakes have gone back the other way.
From the left hash, handoff on the jet sweep, and a big hole to the right side, opened up for Josh Kirkhoff, and he's pulled down from behind near the 25-yard line. They're going to mark him down, a 13-yard pickup and a first down.
And you can see Collins there leading the way, blocking and opening up those gaps. And so important when you have the football, but almost, if not more important, when you don't have the football to help these plays made. It's not just the player that has the football, but there's a lot of intent that goes into how these plays, when they're successful, what happens to them.
Good pursuit, by the way, by the free safety, Nate Royer, to pull him down because I thought he was headed towards the end zone. Just over a minute to go. Pump fake and then a throw by Funk to the left side. This is caught. Touchdown in the end zone. Charlie Coonan with the 25-yard grab.
That was a great catch. He went right over the top of the defensive back. We saw him drop the first one of the night, but he has had some good catches since. As you see, Funk drops back here, has plenty of time, and a good throw on target. I mean, that's right on the money, even with the defensive back right on top of Coonan. There's no way for Kaposius to break that one up, and the touchdown makes it 20-7 here in favor of Chanhassen.
So Coonan's first touchdown of the evening, and the kick after is good by McDougal.
Your score 21-7. Chanhassen Storm over the Jefferson Jaguars.
And another good drive here. We've seen the difference now between these two teams so far. Chanhassen has been able to sustain drives. We saw Bloomington Jefferson with a good first drive, but the last couple of times with the football, they have kind of gone away from what worked with them the first time, and because of that, they've kind of sputtered a little bit on offense. Chanhassen's defense might have had something to do with it. Maybe Bloomington Jefferson has seen something in the Chanhassen defense that has forced that change, but at the end of the day, they have gone away from Cage a little bit after that first drive and those first couple of good runs. We haven't seen him really carry the ball since, and all of a sudden Chanhassen's up by 2 scores here in the first quarter.
You called it out because I was wondering, is offensive coordinator for the Jaguars, Matt Smith, seeing something that is pulling him away from what worked on that first drive? Or does he want to get his quarterback more involved, his wide receivers more involved? But it seems so easy on that first drive, and a 40-yard pickup will do that, right? It'll make the running game look really, really good. And so here we go, and kickoff coming from Mao with just over a minute left here in the first quarter. It's going to be a long one if we keep the scoring up at this pace. 28 points in the first quarter so far. Who knows what Jefferson can do with a minute plus. Now ready. Fans have been loud. I mean, they've been active here tonight. You would think there was so few people you wouldn't hear it, but you hear it all evening. This kick towards the sideline will bounce and bounce out of bounds. And so we thought he might veer the kicks to the right, but instead, Mao this time loses it out of bounds to the left, and that'll set up good field position for this Bloomington Jefferson team.
Really smart move there by Freitag, watching that ball and intent on hoping that ball is going to go out of bounds, but at the same time being aware that that's a live ball. So if it doesn't roll out of bounds, he has to pick it up, and they were going to have rough field position if that was going to be the case, but able to wait it out. It goes out of bounds, and so this ball moved all the way up to the...
Seems like the officials are trying to figure that out. Do they need the official confirmation from the coaches?
I believe it's the 35-yard line. I think there's some discussion to this.
I don't think that's not a new rule for the COVID-shortened season, right?
I think the conversation might have been about where the football was going to be on the 35-yard line. It looked like maybe the Jefferson coach said, put it on the far hash to him, the near hash to us.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's where the conversation was.
2 receivers left, 1 to the right. Tight end set up on the right side of the line. Under center is Chanhassen. Chanhassen drops back looking to pass. He throws it up towards the left sideline. Good pass, but it is a little behind the intended target, or maybe he didn't break off his route in time. Colby Jorsham was the intended target.
As we take a look at the replay, it was, like you mentioned, a good throw, but the receiver just overran it a bit, and by the time he realized he had overrun it, it was too late to change course, and so 2nd down and 10.
So again, Cage in this game has 6 carries for 59 yards. And yet, those 6 carries, I think 5 of them came on the first drive, and he's had just 1 carry now so far. This is the 3rd drive since. Here we go. Back to Cage, and Cage will plow forward up towards the 38-yard line. It's only a 3-yard pickup. But, I mean, he's had 1 run where he was stopped in the backfield. Otherwise, he's picked up 3+ on all 6 of his other carries in this game. And he's getting decent yardage the vast majority of the time. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Cage in the backfield as Chanhassen will walk backwards into the shotgun to join him. Chanhassen throws left. This ball is through the hands of the intended target, and Jefferson just having some trouble holding on as Jorsham could not squeeze his mitts onto that one.
That one really had some mustard on it, too. He really put a lot on it, and he had to because the defense was surrounding Jorsham, so he had to squeeze that one in there. He probably felt that, and so Jorsham just not able to hold on to it. A good pass and just a tough non-catch there for the Jefferson receiver, and another punting situation here for Jefferson with less than 30 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
Yeah, I'm with you on Hanson's pass. I mean, he really fit that into exactly the spot he wanted to. Now Chanhassen punting this one away. He gets a good one up there. Takes a Bloomington Jefferson bounce and will roll near the 25-yard line.
37-yard punt, no return.
That runs out the time in the first quarter. 21-7, the hometown Chanhassen Storm on top of the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars. We'll pause and then come back for the start of the second next here on MC22.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Right now just throws it away out of bounds. Funk under some serious pressure that time. Didn't see anything developing, and as we talked about, left-handed quarterbacks on both sides. For him, rolling to his right is not exactly where Funk would like to be. So with that incomplete pass, We set up on 2nd and 10. This Storm team, again, 3 touchdowns already. And coming on a 10-yard pass from Funk to Brendan Radke. Then a 38-yard run by 13-yard run by Grandstand. Then a 25-yard pass with Funk to Coonan. Here, Funk takes the snap and running himself goes to the right side, gets around the edge and is hit hard as he crosses the 30. Good lean forward. He gets all the way up to the 34-yard line. It's a 9-yard pickup, setting up 3rd and 1. First run of the day for Funk. Take another look at Funk getting the edge, and you could see there was just enough done by the offensive lineman to keep the man on the edge, Aiden Bertrand, the junior, from getting to Funk and making that stop early. So it results in a big pickup and sets up this 3rd and short situation. 2 receivers to the left from the right hash, I formation, handoff, and lots of men in the backfield. Absolutely nowhere for Jason Collins to go. But even looking at that, I think if you're Collins, you get into that situation, you need 1 yard. This isn't a time to dance. This is a time to put the head down and push. Get low, drive yourself into the defense and see if you can get that 1 yard. Instead, he stayed mostly upright and tried to cut, and that eliminated any opportunity with the swarming Jaguars getting to him of him picking up the first down. In fact, he's credited with a 1-yard loss that time. So they set up on offense to go for it on 4th and 2. 2 receivers left, I formation, Funk under center, and now a timeout is taken by the offense. So Chanhassen asking for a break with 10:29 to go in the second quarter.
Well, I think they really threw off Bloomington Jefferson first off. I was surprised that they were going to go for this here on 4th down and 2, and then they decided to call timeout themselves, so they ended up I think they might have tried to catch Bloomington Jefferson not in a position where they were ready to stop something on 4th down and short, and when Bloomington Jefferson was able to regroup early, they decided to call a timeout, and so we'll see what they do when they come out here on 4th and 2. But that was a nice job by Bloomington Jefferson, first off on the big stop on 3rd down, and then not getting too crazy on 4th down and really staying composed there. And it looks like they're still going to go for it here on 4th down, at least initially.
So they split Coonan out wide to the left. Now he's returning to the huddle. Funk calls out the play. So here goes Hansen out to the left. Slot left is Josh Kirchhoff. Funk gets under center. On 4th and 2, man comes in motion. It is lost in the backfield. Diving towards it, it rolls out of bounds. The fumble will turn over on downs into the hands of the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars. They pick up yards on that fumble, actually, because it just kept rolling the wrong way when it was lost through the hands of Josh Kirchhoff. And a great job there. He didn't get the ball, but the dive that time by Austin Chope pushes things back. And for his offense, ultimately pushes them forward to start this drive on the 25-yard line of the opposition.
And we have seen that jet sweep work a couple of times here for Chanhassen, so not a surprise that they went with it, but not a clean handoff, and that really opens up the door here for Bloomington Jefferson. This will be interesting because we have seen Bloomington Jefferson's offense struggle a bit through the first couple of possessions, with the exception of their first drive. Now they're given a very short field. This is a chance that Bloomington Jefferson maybe was looking for to get right back into this one.
2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Cage is in the backfield. Under center, Carter Hansen. Pitch to the right side. Cage gets hit hard and knocked down at the 26-yard line. It's a 1-yard loss. So this is a play that had worked for them in the past, but they try to run it to the right side, and it's not working there.
Yeah, that's, I guess, the one critique I would make is that a lot of the runs that worked early were going to the left, and it seems like Bloomington Jefferson has perpetually tried to push things to the right side since that initial drive, and it just hasn't seemed to work.
2 receivers left. That's now the wide side. Hansen's going to keep going to his right. He spins around a tackler, hit hard as he's dropped at the 21-yard line. It's a 5-yard pickup for Hansen. So we talked about him not being a big-time running quarterback a year ago, but this time he slips right through the hands of Chris Ewing, the defensive end who got there first, and is able to push forward for good yardage.
Yeah, Porthan able to make the stop eventually, but a nice move in that spin move there to free himself from the initial tackler, and it'll be third down in probably what is a 4-down situation. So they've got 2 downs to try and gain the line.
So they gave him 4 yards on that play. We're looking at third down and 6. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Hansen calling it out. From the right hash.
Here comes Mao with the blitz.
They back off. Hansen has some space, and he throws it low. Incomplete, intending that one for Freitag.
Hansen tried to read that. He could see that Mao was going to come from that left side, so he was going to throw to the receiver that Mao had left, but it was still well covered by Chanhassen, so a 4th down situation here. Good field position for Bloomington Jefferson. They can't afford to waste this type of opportunity.
And now you feel like you're in a forced-to-pass situation, I think. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right. 3 completions on 10 tries so far tonight for Hansen. A lot of noise coming from the near side stands. Hansen barking it out, maybe looking for a jump. He didn't get it, and we get a timeout called for before the play clock runs.
Yeah, that started to really elongate. I was waiting for either a timeout or a flag at some point because we were getting awful close to the situation there. And so a timeout called. I really don't think that you have any other choice in this position but go for it. So I don't think this was a situation to try and maybe draw the Storm offside, maybe set up a 4th and 2 if they could get the draw. But in any case, it'll still be 4th and 7, and I would assume they'll still go for it out of the timeout.
8:58 to go in the second quarter. Again, this looked like a huge opportunity for the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars, starting a drive on the 25-yard line of the Chanhassen Storm. It hasn't worked out that way so far. They're facing a 4th and 7. And really, a 14-point lead for Chanhassen when they have the ball and they've been rolling with their last couple of possessions, it feels huge. But if Jefferson had taken the ball here and put it in the end zone, suddenly the momentum of this game changes dramatically, and this would be a big wasted opportunity if they're unable to put any points on the board. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Hansen is in the backfield, Cage joining him. Hansen set to take the snap. They've got a tight end on the right side. Tight end has mostly been Hansen Chappell throughout the night. Here, pump fake, then a throw to the left side, up and over the defense, and the receiver incomplete. The pass on 4th down intended for, it was Sam Wanzek, excuse me, and out of his reach. So we've seen these quarterbacks, they like the pump fake, especially it feels like Hansen. It hasn't pulled the defense away much.
And a good pursuit up the middle. Again, we talked about those pump fakes only being effective if you have time to allow them to set up, and they did not, as Hansen got pressured and had to maybe throw that ball a little bit sooner than he would have liked to. And so an opportunity lost here for Bloomington Jefferson, and Chanhassen has the football back.
The good news for Bloomington Jefferson, Chanhassen has to start at the 22-yard line. Here's a handoff and a good push forward up ahead to the 25-yard line. And that was
Number 26,
Tucker Pinkerton with just his second carry of the night. He picks up 3 yards.
You can see there, Kobold there in the defensive end trying to rip that ball away and bringing down the runner after a couple of yard gain.
1 receiver each side. They stack him on the right side of the line. Snap was low. Handoff to the running back, Pinkerton, and he's not going to get anything that time. Up to the 25-yard line, so no gain.
Aiden Bertrand getting in there with the stop. Yeah, that play was kind of doomed a bit from the start. Another low snap. Remember, Chanhassen had a low snap earlier that Hansen ended up picking up himself and running on the last possession. Turned that into a positive. This time, unable to do so, and so a negative play there will make it 3rd down and about 7. As Chanhassen with an opportunity to open this game up a little bit, but they're going to have to move the football here on 3rd and long.
2 receivers right, 1 to the left from near the left hash. Funk ready to go. Funk dropping back, has time. Little pump fake, now he'll roll to his right. Pump,
he's got lots
pumping,
of room.
Looking to run, and he does carry it up all the way to the 36-yard line is where they mark him down. 11-yard pickup for Funk, so 2 carries for 20 yards. When he's had to
First down.
run, he has made up good chunks of yardage.
Yeah, and this is one situation where all the receivers were going deep, and because of that, all the defenders had to follow them, and all of a sudden Funk realizes, I've got good protection around the initial line of scrimmage, and there's nobody to tackle me along that right side, so he just took off and had a big run.
3 receivers on the short side to the right here. Left is empty. Now a man goes in motion. Handoff, and it is carried upfield by the receiver, Coonan, who went in motion. He'll push it up near the 40-yard line. It's a 4-yard pickup for Charlie Coonan.
Tackled by Austin.
First carry for him tonight.
Chanhassen really likes to use their receivers in these running situations. We've seen Coonan make some nice catches offensively. He had a touchdown on the last catch he had, but now taking it on the jet sweep. We've seen that with Kickoff as well. They are active participants on the ground as well as through the air.
This is, Collins, we saw his numbers from a year ago. He's looked good here tonight. Then you got Grandstaff, who's got one handoff and took it to the house. Here's a run to the right side. Pinkerton with good yardage. Everyone's carrying well as he takes it up to the 47-yard line. It's a 13-yard pickup for Pinkerton, who had just 5 yards on his first 3 carries combined.
Nick Kaposius and Brock
Some good blocking up front. Caleb Scholl, the senior offensive lineman, in there among others. With the big block here, you can see number 77 there making the block, and now another first down coming up here.
The Storm with over 100 yards rushing and 100 yards passing already today. 2 receivers to the left, tight end on the right side of the line. Here, play action, throw to the left side. He is caught, nicely done, and it's taken up the left side by Josh Kickoff. Kickoff pushed out at the 38-yard line. It's a 9-yard pickup.
pass complete to Josh Kickoff.
And Kickoff behind the line of scrimmage, but lots of room on that left-hand side, and there was a race to the corner as Kickoff was able to win and picking up 9 yards on the play. Good chunk of yardage on first down, and this really opens the playbook up. A 2nd and 1, you can do just about anything you want here on this play.
Riley Funk, 6 for 8, 110 yards in this game. 1 receiver each side, tight end on the right side, working like a wing. Funk from under center, hands it off, and the running back, Grandstaff, getting some good moves, and he dances his way out towards the 24. 14-yard pickup, and I want to call out the wording I use, because oftentimes when you say dancing, a guy's not going anywhere. But he was doing the shuffle forward the entire time, moving forward, cutting, and finding that open space, weaving past his own blockers even.
And with that, you take a look. That whole play was set up by Eli Mao, who was able to block and give the dancer some room on the dance floor to make those type of plays.
1 receiver right, 1 receiver to the left. Funk from under center. Hands it off to Collins, and Collins working off the left tackle will push ahead of the 20-yard line.
This, on the other hand, was pretty much just Collins. He had some early blocking, but then yards after contact, he pulled that for probably 3-4 yards after contact. And so picking up some yardage, tough yardage there for the running back for Chanhassen.
Give Collins 5 on the play. Sets up 2nd and 5 as they move into the red zone. Chanhassen looking for more points before the half ends. Just under 5 minutes to play in this second quarter. Wide to the right, Kickoff sets up. Man out to the left side is Coonan. Jumping going on, and definitely coming across were the Jaguars, but was their movement that drew them into the neutral zone.
Looks like it's going to be against Bloomington Jefferson.
Second time the defense has jumped like this and cost themselves 5 yards. Remember, it was 2nd and 5, so this should move the chains unless it was, 2nd and
First down for Chanhassen.
5.5. Nope, they will move those chains. So first down for Chanhassen. Things really looking good. They allowed that first drive touchdown, and since then, it's been just about all Chanhassen Storm here in the first half. Coonan out to the left, Kickoff to the right. Funk from the gun, off the left hash, takes the snap, throw, caught, touchdown! Charlie Coonan on the slant, takes it home from 14 yards out.
To Charlie Coonan for a
What a tremendous catch on a tremendous play there by Chanhassen. Second touchdown of the day for Coonan as he went in. We talked about a laser beam earlier from Carter Hansen, but Funk as well putting some spice on that one, right on the mark to Coonan, who was able to make the catch for the touchdown. Good play there. And Chanhassen opening things up now, but the extra point, no good. Still a 20-point lead here at 27-7.
So the kick after is not good, and you mentioned it, a 20-point lead, but that was a carbon copy, it felt like, except for the defense. Before there were three defensive players surrounding Coonan that time when he dropped it. This time there was just the one. Not sure if that changed anything for him mentally, but here he squeezes the ball and takes it into the end zone.
Yeah, that was a nice drive, 78 yards. As Chanhassen with the 20-point lead. Don't forget you can watch these Chanhassen games on the Chanhassen Sports YouTube account. So make sure and subscribe to that, as well as here on MC22, as we will have coverage of all three of the home games here for Chanhassen this fall.
So MC22 will be sitting in Storm territory each time this squad is here at home. And when you look at those home games, next week they've got Chaska, then 2 road games against Benilde St. Margaret's and Hopkins, and then Waconia will be the other home game, second to last game prior to their road game at St. Louis Park to finish the season. Mao set up, kicking the other direction, but kicking yet again with his team leading 27-7.
And you think back just a few minutes ago where Bloomington Jefferson had the ball at about the 28-yard line. They had an opportunity to, with a touchdown, to make this basically a 21-14 game, but they were not able to move the football. And Chanhassen was, and here we are with a 20-point advantage.
Mao's kick, a good one, pushes the return man back to the 3. Takes it across the 10 to the 15. Will try to break it to the left, gets past one tackler, cuts it up the seam, and is dropped near the 24-yard line. So I mentioned that you've got a Chanhassen Storm that has over 100 yards passing, 100 yards receiving. Bloomington Jefferson hasn't hit 100 total yards to this point in the game. So with 4:16 left, they're looking for big yardage to get in the end zone and have some of that momentum going into the halftime break. And the halftime, I often have referred to it as the locker room break. And some schools don't have a locker room for the away team, or they don't have a locker room close enough for the home team even. But here tonight, in opposite ends of the field behind each goalpost, are like a classroom setup.
Mm-hmm.
Socially distanced chairs with a whiteboard. They're all set for their outdoor halftime chat. Jaguars, 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. I formation. Pump fake and a pass over to the right side. It is caught, but the receiver, not a lot of room, gets up to the 29-yard line. So Freitag getting the 5-yard pass from Hansen.
Oh, good play. That's what Jefferson's just got to do. They've got to start just making positive yardage. They've had too many situations where they've been stymied with a couple of plays in a row where they just don't move positively. So they just got to pick up 3-4 yards at a time, just like that, and maybe this offense will start to come around.
High formation again. They hand off to Cage, but there were so many players in the backfield, and the ball is put on the ground. The officials haven't signaled yet. Chanhassen's pretty confident. Who's got that ball? There's nobody down there, so I'm not sure what they're discussing at this point. The officials haven't said anything. We still not having a... They're not going to signal anything.
And they're going to say down by contact here.
All right. And certainly there wasn't a Chanhassen player down there. Yep. All right. Down by contact is the call.
Yep.
Third down, folks.
We'll move to third down. Let's take a look, see what we see.
Well, that ball was on the ground. Well, it's hard from that angle to see where exactly the ball was.
I don't think he was down, that's for sure. Who got it at what point?
The ball, he never had the ball to start, so there was nothing to be down, but it was who fell on it, I suppose, at the end. They must have said Bloomington Jefferson did.
Two receivers left, one to the right, handoff, and Cage trying to churn his legs, does get across the 30. It's a 3-yard pickup for him.
So we have different markings. It still says second down on the field. That was definitely the third play of this drive, so this should be fourth down.
Agreed.
There was the
Now we have
5-yard play to the right. Well, now we've got a penalty against Chanhassen, face mask, so it's not going to matter. It'll be a first down.
that might be for the best since the sticks say second down. The scoreboard says third down, and it was going to be fourth down, but
Well, we might have had a Tom Brady moment if you watched the last night's Tampa Bay and Chicago game. Late in the game,
that's too
Tom
bad.
Brady forgot what down it was, and so he thought it was third down. It was fourth down, and the Bears ended up winning the game because of it.
46-yard line for Jefferson.
Two receivers left, one to the right. Coverage on the left side slot, really soft. Hansen just looked over there. He will pass it that way. The coverage steps up. Racing to get into the play was Kurt Schaefer, the junior DB, but by then the ball had already been dropped. Incomplete pass. That's up 2nd and 10.
He closed very nicely, though. That was Will Ketchum over there, really closing quick, along with number 32, Kurt Schaefer, as you mentioned. And they got on him quick. He wasn't going to have a whole lot of room to run, even though it looked like the coverage was soft. It was kind of a disguise on the coverage. So 2nd down and 10.
Two receivers left, one to the right. From the right hash, Hansen gets under center, has Cage behind him. Toss to the right side. He is hit in the backfield and swarmed down to the ground. Well, you and I thought maybe we should see more Cage. But he really, when he has gotten opportunities since that first drive, has not had anything going.
But I will point out one more time, they haven't really gone to the left. And that's where his early yardage was. But they have not gone to the left, and I can't, like I said, it might be something that Chanhassen has done defensively, but they just have not gone to the left after this first drive with Cage.
For Cage, 3 of his last 4 carries have gone for negative yards. 2.5 to play in the second quarter. Hansen looking to pass on 3rd and 12. This pass is incomplete. It was low as he was intending it for Wanzek. Went through Wanzek's hands, but that would have been a really tough pass to catch.
And wouldn't have been a first down
Correct.
anyway. It would have been about 4 yards short.
So Wanzek's been targeted 3 times, hasn't been able to come up with the catch yet, but I don't think any of those have been particularly good opportunities for him to make a catch.
No, and the running throw there by Hansen, he didn't really get his feet set. And so, well, they're going to go for this here on 4th down, here down 27-7. They're going for it on 4th and 12.
2 receivers left, one to the right. Hansen from the gun. The crowd getting loud. Again, 4th down and 12. They show blitz. No, it is a punt. And the defense had pulled up, so this punt take a Bloomington Jefferson bounce and roll out at the 14-yard line. 2:16 remaining in the second quarter, and that leaves a pretty long field ahead for the Chanhassen Storm to try and make something happen.
That was a good play there, 42-yard, kind of a quick kick punt. And so a first down from the 14-yard line, another long field. So smart play there by Bloomington Jefferson, kind of deked Chanhassen into thinking they were going to go for it and then booted it over the top. But with 2:16 to go, Chanhassen could really drive a nail here if they were able to go down the field and score again and make this maybe 30-7 or 33-34, what have you. An opportunity here for the Storm to really shut the door here in the first half.
Storm up by 20 points, go with that jet sweep again, then get a little hesitation move from the runner, as that was Jason Collins. And Collins ends up with not as much as I thought he was going to if he just continued on towards the edge.
And keep in mind, too, that Chanhassen's going to get the football to start the second half as well. So they did win the toss and deferred to the second half. So they're going to get the football back again to start the second half as well.
Collins actually a loss of yardage on the play as he loses 1. Second time he's been dropped for a loss on 8 carries. 1 receiver to the right from the right hash. Funk rolling to his left immediately. Has time. The bootleg. He's pointing downfield. Gets his pass away. It is incomplete just a bit behind Kickoff, and Kickoff really had to put the brakes on to try and get back to that ball, and by the time that happened, he wasn't able to see it into his hands cleanly.
Just a strong throw again, and Kickoff unable to hang on. So 3rd down and 11. Minute 27 to go, and Bloomington Jefferson, if they could get a stop, they could get the football back with some time on the clock.
And maybe decent field position if they can hold this to minimal yardage. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Chanhassen didn't seem concerned with running the clock. Now they hand off, and Collins has some room to work with. Collins pushing forward. He is pushed back, though, shy of the 20-yard line, and he needed to get up towards the 24.
Smart play, though, by Chanhassen, because they knew that Bloomington Jefferson would have to take a timeout by running through the middle. So they only have 1 timeout to go with 1:17 to go. They'll get the football back with probably some decent field position, but they'll only have 1 timeout. So if you're going to give the football back, at least I'll force Jefferson to take that timeout.
So Collins got 4 yards on the play, so this is 4th and 7. Obviously a punt situation all the way with that 1:17 to go. What a fiery brand of football we had to start this game, with the 2 teams marching down the field and trading scores. Since then, the only team to get back on the board is the hometown Chanhassen Storm in this Section 2 5A matchup. Could be a big win to start the season for Chanhassen, just like they had a year ago when they kicked off the season with a win over these Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars. Jaguars using every bit of that timeout. Now they come back out onto the field to receive this punt. The man back deep to receive is Sam Wanzek. So Wanzek setting up just across midfield, about the 45-yard line.
Max protect here for Mao.
Mao gets the kick away. Takes a bounce out of bounds. I'm not even sure that made it back to midfield. It hit down at about the 47 and then went immediately out. They do mark it right at midfield, actually. So 1st down for Bloomington Jefferson with 1:10 to go. That is certainly enough time to get in the end zone. As you see some of the fans who weren't part of the 250 allowed inside the stadium. Now, I thought there were some rules about tailgating and congregating at the stadiums if you weren't going to be inside as a spectator. But I'm not the high school league, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm also not the governor, and he's the one who came up with the 250-person rule for gatherings. 2 receivers to the right, 1 receiver to the left. I will say, we're surrounded by all the states surging in COVID, and we're still holding tight. Here, push out of bounds on the catch by the tight end. 46-yard line. So just a 4-yard pickup on the catch by the tight end, Harrison Chappell.
Of course, last week we went down to Iowa. We saw a different state, which was a lot of fun. A little different type of football, but a different crowd as well. They had some socially distanced situation. Everybody had to wear a mask in there, but quite a bit more people there than there were here tonight.
Absolutely. Here, Hansen looking for some space. He gets a throwaway. Ooh, free tag right in and out of his hands. So close that time for free tag.
We've seen that a couple of times tonight where Hansen has been able to be accurate on the throw, and the receiver, that's a good throw there, and free tag just unable to bring it in, and so it'll be 3rd down instead of...
You say a good throw, and when you look at the replay, yes, it's low. But the quarterback is on the run, being chased. That's not going to be an ideal 3-step drop, get your feet set. It's not going to be perfect. The receiver needs to go down and get that. Here, a receiver does catch it in stride. The pass from Hansen hits him in the numbers, and holding on is Colby Josham.
Well, and there's your 3-step drop, just like you talked about. He takes the pass, sets his feet, nice throw. Pitch and catch here for the 1st down, and that's what Bloomington Jefferson has to do. They have to just find, maybe some of these things that they're doing right now are maybe a little too complicated for game number 1, and so get back to the basics and try and move the football 4 or 5 yards at a time.
So the clock did stop on the first down, but they took a long time to get the next play off, and players hand fighting all the way down the field. The pass is incomplete as Wanzek couldn't get a hold of it. Nice job defensively by Pedro Velasquez.
As we see there, a nice play there, knocking it away by Velasquez at the last minute, but you can see his hand was wrapped around there. There might have been a compelling argument for some interference there, but none was called, and so it'll be 2nd down and 10.
2 receivers right, 2 receivers left. 35 seconds remaining on this 2nd down and 10 situation from the 32. Hansen with the blitz coming. Snap is high. He has to dive back on it, and how about a sack? All right. Easy sack that time for Kenyatta Branyan, who's done a good job of getting upfield. Remember, he really challenged a pass earlier, might have slightly deflected it as well on a pseudo-screen situation. So under 30 seconds to go, and we look at a 3rd down and quite long.
And the timeout called here by Bloomington Jefferson. That's their final timeout. So it'll be 3rd down long, 29.7 seconds. And that's just been the name of the game here. Some of the things that have gone wrong for Chanhassen, they've still been able to produce off of, whereas Bloomington Jefferson, it just hasn't quite been the case. And so here we sit. 20-point lead here, less than 30 seconds to go. This probably, again, regardless of what happens on 3rd down, they'll probably go for it here again on 4th down, I would think. I think they just have to get back to the basics. We've seen the bones are there where they have been able to do a couple of things that they've been able to move the football, but just not consistent enough right now. And so they've got to step back maybe a little bit and find some consistency here.
Jaguars need about 17 yards for a 1st down. Cage alone in the backfield, 2 receivers to each side. Hansen set under center. He fakes the pitch, rolls to his left, throws it over the middle. It's caught by Freitag on the move. He's got a blocker upfield and a 1st down as he scoots out of bounds. 22 seconds left. They needed 17. He gets 18.
That was a really great play. Watch this fake right here. The fake pitch, it really throws Mao off, and by the time he recovers, Hansen's thrown it down the field in a nice run and catch and a 1st down. That is the best play that Bloomington Jefferson has run today.
So back at it are the Jaguars with 22 seconds left. 2 receivers left, 2 receivers right. Snap is high. Hansen pulls it down, thrown over the middle. Incomplete. Knocking it down is Ryan Mashka.
He's nearly intercepted there. And that would have been quite the way to end the first half. Is that a little bit high, but not too bad, and nearly thrown off it. Mashka was never in the range of the viewpoint of Hansen. And when he threw it, all of a sudden he was right there in the middle of it. Oh, that might have gotten tipped, I think, out front again by, I think, Brannon again. He's really had a nice game on that defensive line.
He's a hands-up player. I mean, he's a big guy, too, but he is active with his hands once he sees the quarterback's ready to throw. 2 receivers each side from the left hash. Hansen pump fakes, looks to step up, now has to roll to his right, throws it to his right. It is incomplete. And the clock stops with 11 seconds left as we go to 3rd down.
That was actually a really good play by Hansen, because if he gets tackled, the clock runs and the first half comes to a close. So the fact that he was able to escape and just throw that football away gave Bloomington Jefferson a chance here. 3rd and 11 with 11 seconds to go. You've got a chance for 2 plays here. Unless you throw it over the middle of the field and don't get a 1st down, then the clock's going to run out on you.
I'm thinking 2 shots at the end zone. 11 seconds is enough time to make that happen as long as you go quick with the first one. 3 receivers right, 1 to the left. Hansen looking to his left, rolls that way. Now throws it across the middle, caught at the 10. His man is down at the 5, and the clock will stop. There we go, 2 seconds left.
Boy, and the clock ran for a good 2 seconds after the whistle blew. So I'm guessing the Bloomington Jefferson fans would like to see a couple of seconds put back on the clock. It was a nice play again. They were expecting that the clock would stop to set the 1st down.
The officials slowing things down a bit here and saying that the clock did not stop. So I think they're allowing Bloomington Jefferson the appropriate amount of time.
They might spike the football here.
I think that's what
reset.
they're going for. You get one play either way, one
Yeah.
real play, right?
Yeah,
So if
you-
you spike it, you can really get set clean.
Yep.
The official right up against the quarterback, Hansen, here as he's getting set under center. Oh, they're resetting the clock
Yep,
now.
they are setting it to 4.3.
Bloomington Jefferson down by 20 points. We talked about some momentum going into the half. They've had a decent drive, and this is one of their better drives of this game, but to not come away with points would be tough to swallow for these Jaguars. There it is, 4.3 on the clock, and we're ready to go.
I would still spike it, I think, if I were Bloomington Jefferson, but
Yep, that's the play.
There we
So
go.
they throw it down.
and then just reset now with 2.6. So the clock really doesn't matter at this
No.
point. You've got one play, but at least don't have that clock ticking down while you are trying to set up your final play. So the down doesn't matter, the time doesn't matter. It's the last play of the first half, and this is huge because if Jefferson can get a score and get a stop to start the second half, they're right back into it.
Yeah, the Storm will get the ball to start the second half. 2 receivers right, 2 receivers left. Now everyone comes into a tight bunch and a timeout asked for by the defense. They didn't like that movement right before the play on 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line.
This last play has really become drawn out between the fact that the clock was didn't quite stop on the whistle, and so the reset, that was almost like a timeout there, and then another timeout. So this last play has become quite the elongated one as we are nearing halftime but can't quite get to it.
Again, you just think about all that's gone on into this drive for the Jefferson Jaguars. And if they don't finish with some points, that's going to be tough. Now, there hasn't been any sign of what they're going to do out of this timeout, but on that initial play, they did not have a field goal kicker on. So they're not trying to go for 3 on what would be a short field goal.
And I think this is the right call. You're down by 20 points in the second quarter. You really have to do a lot to prove anyways that you can stop Chanhassen first, but you've got to put yourself in a little bit of a position to get back into this game. And this is the opportunity you have. You haven't been down in this position all that often here in the first half, so you got to take advantage of it. They have missed one opportunity already, and this is chance number 2.
Hansen came out without his helmet on, now has it secured, and he's ready from the gun with 3 receivers to the right and 1 to the left. Last play of the half. Throw to the left side. They fade it to the back corner. It is caught. Touchdown. Bloomington Jefferson finds Seth Krakow, and the senior pulls it in. Well drawn up play by the Jaguars, and they're down big still, but you can see that momentum going into the halftime with how pumped they are.
Yeah, that is going to fire them up going into the halftime, and what a way to finish it looked like with about a minute and a half to go. Remember, Chanhassen had the football. We were talking about the possibility of the Storm going down the field potentially and scoring and really putting this out of reach, and all of a sudden Jefferson gets the ball back, gets their offense going, and with the extra point up and good, they have closed to within 2 scores at the half, and I'm really impressed by Jefferson recomposing themselves here in the last minute and 17 to get back on the board. And what a catch, by the way. Look at this. Everybody was going to the left, and Krakow went to the right. Just a floater out there and right in 1 foot. He got the second one as well. That's good enough for the 6.
So with that, it's a little momentum, but still a good lead for the Storm, who will start the second half with the ball. When we come back, it's Chanhassen 27, Bloomington Jefferson 14 here on MC 22.
comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the, no, here comes the, oh, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the, no, here comes the, oh, here comes the, y'all don't really want it, don't really want it, don't really want it, y'all don't really want it with me. I know you shook, man. You ain't built for a skirt as in me. It's gon' sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming for ya. It's gon' sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I come for ya. It's gon' sound like, yeah, here comes the, no, here comes the, oh, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the, no, here comes the, oh, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the, no, here comes the, oh, here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the, no, here comes the, oh, here comes the, y'all don't really want it now.
All right, Storm fans, what an exciting first half of play. Your Chanhassen Storm are up 27-14 against the Bloomington Jaguars. Few headlines we have. Riley Funk making his first debut at varsity, doing a fantastic job. Charlie Coonan, the junior star wide receiver, has 2 touchdowns. And Brady Grandstaff, another junior, has another touchdown, his first in his first varsity start. The Storm defense have come up really big on a few plays, 3rd and 4th downs. And the run game has been very productive as they have been using Tucker Pinkerton, Jason Collins, and alongside Brady Grandstaff. Josh Kirchhoff and Josh Ock have also been getting a few plays on the wide receiver slot as the Storm now take the field again for their warm-ups. Stay tuned for the next half. Roll Storm.
Did he? Okay.
Welcome back to Chanhassen High School, where the Storm lead 27-14 over the visiting Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars after one half of play. John Head and Nick Walsh, glad to be back with you as the two teams getting warmed up for the start of this second half after their outdoor class. And let's look at what we had from that first half. A lot of scoring, obviously, with 41 points on the board. It got going early with the running of Roosevelt Cage. He had a 40-yard carry, then he finished the drive with this 8-yard run. Kick after was good at 7-0. Play action on the other side and a pass by Funk to Brennan Radke, the tight end, and he got in, according to the officials. Touchdown stands. Here, handoff to the youngster, junior running back Brady Grandstaff scores from 13 yards out, and then Funk went back to the air after Grandstaff powered through that face mask. Funk going deep this time. That's a 25-yard pass connection to Charlie Coonan. Coonan and Funk did some nice work. They go back at it. This one caught near the goal line, taken across for Coonan's second TD of the day. The kick after that time was blocked. Then right at the end of the half, time has expired, but a catch in the back of the end zone for Seth Krakow on a nicely designed play. The 5-yard score got the Jaguars back on the board. Their kick after was good, and that's how we got to 27-14 after 2 quarters of play. For the Chanhassen Storm, they have 249 total yards. That's unofficial. I'm the one counting that. Rushing yards, 138. Passing yards, 111. For Bloomington Jefferson, far fewer total yards, 135. So more than 100 fewer than the Chanhassen Storm had total. Jaguars, 66 of their yards coming on the ground, 69 through the air. And we talked about it, Nick. Momentum for the Jaguars going into the half, but a big lead for Chanhassen, a 2-touchdown lead, and they get the ball to start this second half.
Yeah, I think that this first possession for Chanhassen in the second half is going to be paramount here for both sides. I think if you are Bloomington Jefferson and you can get a stop on that initial possession of the second half, you really feel like you've got the momentum. You scored that really acrobatic play on the last play to get back into this. This could have been 27-7 very easily. Bloomington Jefferson is able to score and get back into the game. If they can stop Chanhassen on that initial drive of the third quarter coming up, they could really use that and utilize that and really get into maybe a little bit more of a flow. They found their offense. They had it in the first possession. They kind of sputtered, and then they found it right at the end again. They have a chance to get back into this game. However, Chanhassen has been the better of the two teams in the first half. They've been the more consistent of the two teams in the first half, and if they stay consistent, they should win the football game. But there's a lot of time left to this. The first game, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of times you're just not really sure what you're going to get out of this first game. So what we saw in the first half and what we might see in the second half might be two different types of ball games altogether. So I think this first possession, offensively for Chanhassen, defensively for Bloomington Jefferson, might tell us how this second half is going to go.
Two teams taking to the field. Chanhassen set to receive on that left side. Bloomington Jefferson making their way to the field. We talked about the fact that Chanhassen won both meetings last year, opening the season with a 24-6 win over these Jaguars, and then Chanhassen winning 34-13 in the postseason. It's actually been 7 straight games going back to the 2014 season that the Chanhassen Storm have beaten the Jefferson Jaguars when they've met on the same field. You've got to go back to 2010. There was a break from 2010 to 2014 with no games between the two teams, but the Jaguars won 43-0 way back then. For a little history on these two teams, Chanhassen getting that start they wanted out across the 40. One man to beat. It's the kicker trying to cut around him. He just leaves him behind. Then more players come from behind. Finally, he tumbles in. A touchdown. Charlie Coonan takes it to the house on the second half kickoff return.
And look at how much room he had coming up this seam and the blocking in front of him as Coonan makes the move there, and then it's all Coonan the rest of the way. But a beautiful play, and I guess we have our answer, as the Jaguars never did get an opportunity to stop Chanhassen on this initial drive, and it's 33-14. What a run by Coonan.
There's always that question, if you're a receiver and you catch most of the touchdowns in the game, are you the player of the game, or is the quarterback the player of the game? We threw all of those, but when you do a little something like that on special teams, the tip of the cap is probably headed to Coonan if Chanhassen's lead continues to hold up and they win this season opener. The kick after is up, and it is good. So a 34-14 game after that 89-yard kickoff return.
And what a day here to start. Remember, this game started off when Coonan dropped what potentially could have been a touchdown pass on the first play of the game offensively for them, but he has really recovered. He's got 2 touchdown catches and now a kick return for a touchdown. 3 touchdowns here to start this 2020 season. And you know what they say, better late than never, I guess.
So the Jaguars, as pumped as they probably were going into halftime, they knew they had a tough task ahead of them. But that is a deflating start to the second half for the visiting team here today.
Well, and let's see how they respond. I mean, you're right. I mean, that's a real killer when it comes to momentum. But let's see how they come out now. Remember, in the first half, Jefferson scored right away, and then Chanhassen scored right away. So let's see if maybe Jefferson can do that this time and step up and see if they can answer to the long kick return for a touchdown.
Just the fact that these two teams here today are on the field is somewhat of a surprise. Obviously, this season was canceled at one point, and then to become uncanceled, almost as strange as the fact that it was canceled in the first place, because that doesn't happen typically, and you would think the decision would be final. And then, not only that, but everyone's got to stay healthy. And we had a number of teams that had to drop out from their opening game. Even when we went down to Iowa, we were covering a team that had to sit out 2 weeks in the middle of their season because they had players or people at the school test positive. Here, the kickoff taken at the 8-yard line by Bloomington Jefferson, running towards the right side. There's space there up to the 30, jumps a man to the 35, pushed hard out of bounds, shy of the 40. And that's solid field position to start for the Bloomington Jefferson on their first drive of the second half.
Yep, a good return here.
Free tag.
By free tag. Look at the leap there to get another 5 or 6 yards. And as you mentioned, good field position. Yeah, in fact, my hometown up in the central part of the state, the Osaka Silver Streaks, their first 2 games of the season were wiped out due to COVID, so they are not playing tonight.
Speaking of games going on, not too far from here, Chaska is leading St. Louis Park 23-0 after one half of play. So Chanhassen and Chaska, they keep pretty close tabs on what the other is doing. And we've seen the two battle it out a number of times.
And they will battle it out next week right here on MC22 and on Storm Sports on the YouTube.
So Cage, with not a lot of room to run that time, picks up 2 yards, trying to go up the middle. Will he find space on the left at any point? 2 receivers to the right, 1 man to the left. From the center of the field on 2nd and 8, Hansen takes the snap. He will hand off, running off right tackle, and ahead for a yard. It goes Cage.
Good play up the middle there defensively by Chris Ewing, the defensive end, making the stop. You see he gets his paws around the legs of Cage and not allowing him to get any further. So a nice play there by the senior defensive end.
So 3rd and 7. This is a Bloomington Jefferson team that passed the ball 20 times in the first half. They've started this half with 2 running plays on offense, much like they started the first half when Cage was the focal point of the offense. 2 receivers left, looking that way is Hansen. He gets his pass away. It is incomplete, too far ahead of the intended target, Sam Wanzek.
And so a quick 3 and out here for Bloomington Jefferson, so they'll have to give the ball back now to Chanhassen, and that is not what they were looking for from an offensive standpoint, especially after Chanhassen scored on the kick return. So that's how quickly Big Mo can disappear. You had the momentum going into the half, and you find yourself behind by 7 further right off the gate without even playing a defensive stand, and now you're giving the football back again to the offense.
Chanhassen, 20-point lead. Yes, we've just begun the second half, really, as this fair catch called for and reeled in at the 26-yard line by Coonan. I would think that it's not too early to start thinking we're going to hear the names or say the names Collins, Grandstaff, and Pinkerton. I think the running game is already going to be in full swing as long as it can move the football and move the chains to move that clock, because you've got a team that has built themselves a sizable lead early on in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Chanhassen's a multi-dimensional team here. We've seen them run the football. We've seen them pass the football, certainly. But, this is a time when maybe you might want to take some clock off.
They do give to Collins on the first down play. He carries up to the 30-yard line. 30, so 3 yards for Collins on that play. This is a Chanhassen team that ran the ball 62% of the time during the regular season, overall last season in their 10 games. So The run game was their bread and butter on a reasonable season last year to make it to the second round of the playoffs. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Collins standing next to his QB, gets the handoff again. He goes up the middle, finds room to the right side, breaking out to the numbers, and he is tackled down, pushed forward up towards the 44-yard line. A 14-yard pickup for Collins, who's now had 3 carries of 14 or 15 yards tonight.
It's a really good block by Noble Rao, the center, pushing forward and opening up that hole for Collins. And then once Collins is out in the open, he really has the ability to make some defenders miss, and really good just shifting around and finding that extra couple of yards.
And 3 receivers to the left from the right hash on first down from their own 44. Blitz shown, and they come pushing Funk. Funk gets away, now lets it fly downfield. He's got a man. It is incomplete. Josh Kirchhoff had all the space he needed, but he could not pull that in, and he's slow to get up. I think that's more out of frustration than anything.
He grabbed that left hamstring as soon as he came down. As you watch on the replay, he will immediately go to the left hammy.
He's also going towards the sideline, so I misread that situation.
And so initially it looked like something that he might have been able to wrangle in, but at the same time he went for that back of the knee as soon as he came down. So maybe a little bit of both.
So Kirchhoff will go.
2nd and 10 for Chanhassen.
Speak to the medical staff while the offense continues to try and move the football. 9:03 to go here in the third quarter. 2nd and 10. They split Coonan out to the left. 2 TDs on offense, 1 on special teams for him tonight. I formation. Funk hands it off, and it's a run right up the middle. Good yardage, falling forward into enemy territory. It's another pickup for Collins, who takes it 9 yards on that carry.
And this is what we've seen out of Chanhassen throughout the night. They have been able to just keep things moving, as we've got another injury on the field, it looks like, for Bloomington Jefferson. But they've just been able to keep forward progress moving, and good things happen when you're able to do that. You might not pick up a whole bunch on first down, but if you don't lose yardage, and then second down you pick up 4, 5, 6 yards like this, you put yourself in a position where you can just continue to move the football, and occasionally you're going to have one of those bigger plays that results in a touchdown or a long gain. And so that's kind of been the difference here today. Bloomington Jefferson's had a few spurts where they have shown that same ability, but they have not been able to do it consistently. As we see the mothership there. And right below, here we go. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, a little wave.
I tried. I was there.
All right. Looks like, is it Colby Georgecombe who's down there? I wanted to say it was 15, but that's...
It's either 15 or 16, but I did not get a look at it the first time around.
It is 15. Georgecombe, who's been a big player on offense, a regularly targeted receiver who's caught 3 balls tonight. And so if he's out for any extended period of time, and this was a concern for the coaches when I talked to them before the game, that, you know, early in the season, not as many practices, it's going to be warm. It's not hot today, but it's warm, and these guys don't have the conditioning that they typically would coming into a first game, let alone this point in October. 8:49 to go in the third quarter. 1 receiver each side on the I formation. Here's a run right up the middle, and good yardage, breaking tackles and trying to get loose down the field. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Jason Collins from 47 yards out as he moves to 127 yards on the day. I wondered what would happen if he truly got into the open field, and he had just enough of a second gear to keep those DBs away.
Yeah, he just got through. There wasn't much of a seam to get through on that line, but he was able to weave his way, got one initial block. Nice job by number 50, Cole Van Holland, shifting across kind of a zone block where he came around from the left side, opened up the hole, and that's all Collins needed as he scampers for the touchdown now. A 2-point conversion here, and it's complete. Nicely done.
It's our favorite guy.
Kenyatta Brannon, the tight end, making the catch.
He's done some nice work on the defensive end position. Here they go for 2 just to try something different, and it works out. Another score, and it's a 42-14 game.
And so getting that extra point back that they had lost on the blocked attempt a couple of touchdowns ago. Going for 2 there, opening it up now for a 4-score game here with 8:33 to go. We're less than 3.5 minutes into the second half. Remember how quickly things can change. This was a 2-score game. It looked like the momentum was maybe on Bloomington Jefferson's side, and Chanhassen has totally reclaimed that and now lead by 28 points here with still 8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
So big-time lead for the Storm. And if you're the Jaguars, I think you just use what's left in this game to work on what you hope to be good at going forward. Show that you can mix in your most stable plays on a regular basis. Plus, you don't need to show anything new to anyone who might watch film coming up the rest of the year. So get the basics down. And I think in some ways, Jefferson has done some of the fundamental things that you would ask of a team. They haven't turned the ball over significantly tonight. You would think maybe in a lopsided game like this that they had given it away regularly, but they have just had trouble sustaining drives for the most part.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's still game number 1, so you're still adjusting. You're still trying to find out what a lot of these teams. They've only worked in practice, obviously, against themselves. There's no scrimmages. Usually you have a scrimmage earlier in the season before the first game, so you really haven't seen what you're up against in regard to talent for yourself, talent for your opponents. So, take this for what it's worth and work on what you need to work on here. This is a different kind of a year, so take these opportunities for what they are.
Here's the kick, taken near the 26-yard line, so a really good start to this drive. Now busted out towards the left side and trying to find the edge. Bloomington Jefferson, Seth Krakow on that return. So I mentioned that the coach is nervous about injury. We haven't seen anything that looked devastating. Everyone's been able to get off under their own power, and I think that's kind of the injuries that you might expect early in the season. Not the devastating ones, but guys just not fully ready and might tweak a muscle a little bit, need to take some time off. This is a Jefferson team Chanhassen has no two-way starters that they announced prior to this game. So that's one way to go about it. For Bloomington Jefferson, they had 4 two-way starters, but they also talked to me about how they would plan to regularly rotate guys in throughout the course of the game. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Krakow and Cage in the backfield. It's like Cage is the lead back. Krakow, the tail man, gets the handoff, goes to the left side, and he's pushed out of bounds near the 48-yard line. Looks like they'll give him the 49, so a 4-yard pickup for Krakow.
And that's one of the few times here since that initial drive that they've even attempted to run to the left-hand side. Almost everything today has been to the right for Bloomington Jefferson on the ground after that initial drive. So one can maybe assume that Chanhassen did something defensively that has led them away from that left-hand side, but pick up about 4 here on first down.
They set up with that same formation. Here's a toss to the right side. Krakow gets some room, and then it evaporates quickly. I was just saying, I think Cage has done a good job throughout the course of this game in blocking. I thought he's done a nice job protecting his quarterback. Now he's out there as a lead blocker, and he does get a man and pushes him forward. There's just too many flooding in from behind to help out on Krakow on that carry. No gain on the play.
And you can see some good breaking away of those tackles by Chanhassen. Cummins, the one that eventually wraps up the running back. And now we've got another injury, looks like this time for Chanhassen on the field here. And another leg or a knee injury of sort. And these might be, it looks like that's number 7, Ryan Mashka. And again, this could be another thing that you didn't mention was maybe some dehydration.
Cramps,
because you're just not used to keeping yourself hydrated throughout the course of a game, being game number 1. And so we might be just getting some tight muscles, some cramps that are going on as well. And so that looks like maybe what this was here. So coming off just a little bit limp there, but
well, you and I before the game we were down on the field getting ready for the opener, and I heard players talking about how sweaty they were, and we hadn't even started the game yet. Just their warm-ups, they were already, and it was a decently warm day today. Here's a pass to the left side. It is caught. Nicely done. Pulled in near the 41-yard line. So that's a 10-yard pickup on the catch by Wanzak, who had been targeted 4 times and had never been able to hold on to one. And again, as we talked about, not a lot of favorable passes his way previously. But here he adjusts well and makes the catch.
Yep, and that one is right on the numbers. A lot of these passes that have come from Carter Hansen, when he's been on the run particularly, have come in a little bit low. And so that one, a little better feet set and a pass that was up around the numbers.
Hansen hands off to Cage. Cage makes one man miss and then bursts into the second level where he is tackled down near the 36-yard line.
Tackled by Humbach.
So a 7-yard pickup for Cage on that run, and it had been a while. Cage, who had that really strong start, that's his longest run. Let's see, everything else had been 2 yards or less in his previous 6 carries. So now you've got kind of a two-headed monster in that backfield with Krakow and Cage both getting opportunities. Hansen backing up, letting his running backs know what the play is. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left on 2nd down and 3. Looking left the whole time. He passes incomplete, out of the reach of his intended target. And it would have been tough to put that any closer to Wanzak because the DB was all over him and undercut him on the pass.
Yeah, no, that was a good defensive coverage there by Mitch Becker. He was right on top of the receiver. In fact, he was probably there a little bit early, but at the end of the day, it's an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down. You can see the receiver maybe looking for a call on some contact, but it wasn't coming. And so 3rd down and 3.
2 receivers right, 1 to the left, that I formation in the backfield. Hansen from under center. Toss to the right side. It's going to be close on this one. Let's see where they spot down Krakow, who leapt forward at the end looking for the 32. I think he's got it, yeah.
He does, and part of the reason is because a Cage there with a nice block. Chris Ewing was there ready to make the tackle, but Cage was able to hold his block and really seal off, and that allowed Krakow to just get enough for the 1st down.
2 receivers left, 1 to the right. A fresh set of downs for the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars, who try to push along here from the right hash I formation. Play action. Hansen rolling to his left, looking back across right. Now goes deep to the left. He's got an arm. He just flung that downfield way over the receiver's head and out of bounds. But he made that look easy.
Yeah, he has the ability to get the ball down the field, and he has the ability to throw the ball on the run. Those are 2 things that he has been able to show here today. We haven't always seen them both come together at the same time. That's been kind of the difference. But that one, the accuracy, just a little too strong. But, again, that's a first game thing where you're trying to zero in on your accuracy. And that's what I've been impressed with Chanhassen is their passing ability has been fairly accurate with Funk throughout the night for a game 1. I typically tend to think you'll see more on the ground than in the air in week 1.
Hansen keeping, runs towards the right side, a little stutter step, and then he'll go out of bounds. Speaking of zeroing in, Hansen's last 4 passes have gone to Wanzak. This time, though, he runs it himself up to the 29-yard line, so a 3-yard pickup on Hansen's 3rd carry of the game. Two receivers left and 1 to the right. I mentioned that Chaska big lead earlier, and this Chanhassen school, only 12 years. They still announce the year that the school opened or that the football program began at the start of these games, and it's always a reminder that the school hasn't been around that long.
Nope.
And for most of that time, Tim Carlson has been the head coach, now in his 9th year. Here, a run up the middle, and not a lot of room there.
Hansen
But they will likely go for it on 4th down, so maybe just trimming off some yards and see what they can get. They get about 3 there.
So that'll set up at 4th down and 3.
Gabe Porthen able to bring down the quarterback.
Two receivers left, one to the right. Krakow and Cage on either side of Hansen. From the right hash, looking to keep. He runs towards the right side. I think he's got enough room, but it closed up quickly, and he won't get far. He got 1 yard on that play. It just evaporated. Great pursuit by the defense. When he took that edge, I thought he had it, and then blue jerseys everywhere.
Brandon Stoles, the nose tackle, was able to break free of his would-be tackler, and he was able to close up, and that allowed the rest of the defense to swarm from behind. It was a nice play, and Chanhassen will have the ball back.
And he wasn't the only one. I believe that was Alex Karstens also getting in on that tackle, and I think that says a lot, right? I thought he got to the edge with speed, but if the nose tackle's sticking with you as you go to the edge, either you're not moving all that fast or that's a really speedy nose tackle. Might have been some combination of the two. 5 minutes to play in this third quarter. 42-14 the lead for Chanhassen as the Storm have the ball back. Bunch formation, 3 to the right side. From the left hash, handoff, and hit in the backfield immediately is Grandstaff. He's dropped down for a 1-yard loss. Check that. That was Pinkerton on the carry.
It's like Jackson building the offensive line, just a little slow getting up, but he'll stay in the game.
Loss of 1 on the play, 2nd down and 11.
Good pursuit here by Bloomington Jefferson, number 24, Aiden Bertrand, to make the stop.
2 receivers on each side. Funk takes the high snap, hands it off, run right up the middle, and good speed this time. Great push by Pinkerton as he carries it all the way out to the 38-yard line. 14-yard pickup for Pinkerton. Three receivers to the right. And we get flags and whistles before this play gets going. We really haven't had that many penalties considering this is the season opener for these two teams. It has not been a flag fest. And that's good to see that these squads have been disciplined in that manner. Our officials started marching the wrong way. Now he'll push it back, push the offense back, that is, for their penalty. It's funny because with masks right now, a lot of times you feel like someone is smiling. When you pass someone while you're walking, you think they're still being kind. You can see it in the eyes. And while I couldn't even see the eyes on that official, I just got the impression that he was probably chuckling at his own mistake there. Here's a run to the left side for Pinkerton, and Pinkerton has a flag thrown. Well,
spoke too soon on maybe the flag fest here.
Speak of the devil, and he appears. There we go.
Looked like maybe a block in the back there.
So they'd already gone back 5 yards. They'd made up most of that 5 yards on the play. But the holding call is going to move Chanhassen in the wrong direction again.
Holding against Chanhassen.
So they chat about it in the huddle. Up next week for this Bloomington Jefferson team, they host Apple Valley. So they'll go outside of Section 2 to play a Section 3 team. And again, Chanhassen takes on that Chaska team that was winning big earlier against St. Louis Park. 2 receivers to the right, man goes in motion. The snap skips to Funk. He gets a hold of it, throws it downfield, hits his target, but his target unable to hold on. A little frustration there for Andrew Urel. So Urel can't catch that. And he really left it on a juicy platter, it looked like, for the DBs, but unable to leap there in time was Nick Kaposius.
Who was too precocious to make the catch.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
3:35 to go here in the third quarter. I thought we'd see nothing but running, and instead, Chanhassen has gone to the air with regularity. Here's a handoff to Pinkerton, and Pinkerton, I shouldn't say regularity, it's just that the penalties have pulled back all of the running plays that we've seen.
Yep.
Pinkerton on the
And
carry.
so a short carry there. This will be fourth down, so we should see a punting situation here for Chanhassen. I'm not sure I can remember the last time they punted. Have they punted in this game?
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I guess it's third and, well...
We're not to the punting stage yet.
Okay. I had my Tom Brady moment. I thought it was fourth down.
Third down and 19. From their own 28. Handoff and a running play up the middle. Takes him out to about the 32. So a 4-yard pickup for Pinkerton, who's getting the majority of the carries now after Collins had that big 47-yard touchdown run to finish the last drive. 13 carries for 127 yards for him. And right now, Pinkerton with 8 carries for 38 yards after that last 3-yard pickup. 4-yard pickup.
And so now the punting situation.
So that guy doesn't look familiar to you? Eli Mao to punt?
He does. I
remember it because they've used that heavy formation.
That's right. They did. Correct. The max protect late in the first half. Low snap again.
He gets it away. We've got whistles.
They're going to say his knee was down, I believe. He picked up the football, and he put his knee down. So that's where Bloomington Jefferson's going to get the football. Way back at the 20-yard line.
It's a break for Jefferson. And again, there is some time left in this game. If they score quickly, they've got a whole quarter ahead and down a couple of scores.
And that is a good call. Watch here. Mao, his knee clearly on the ground. He has effectively downed that football, and so that's where Bloomington Jefferson gets the football.
Jefferson has a first and 10 from the Storm.
Not a time for lunges. It's time for squats. When you have to go down and pick up that football in that position, you just want to bend at the knees instead of take a knee. Here we go. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. And Hansen and his offense with a short field starting at the 20-yard line. So red zone ahead, and Cage takes the carry, and he doesn't go down that easy in those piles. So he's kind of standing there waiting for some room, but he's caught up in the defense, and he only gets 2 yards in the end.
Well, it's tough for room to open up when everybody's piled up in front of you here. It's just a big glut of people there. There's just nowhere to go, so...
15 Cage carries for 73 yards. Roosevelt Cage, it makes me think of National Treasure whenever I say it. You're a man down for... There's no real tie, but it just makes me feel like I'm watching that. All right, so down for Bloomington Jefferson here is Lucas Kitzman, starting left tackle, and nose guard, a senior. And another situation that it seems like we could be looking at dehydration issues. It could be something else too, but...
Now you've got me wondering, is National Treasure your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Actually, I think National Treasure might be my least favorite Nicolas Cage movie, which is saying something in his illustrious career.
I'm trying to figure out why you tied yourself to National Treasure then.
It was well, I mean, Cage. Obviously, you've got the Cage part.
I get that part, yep.
And then Roosevelt is just a historical American name, and that's
Sure.
a movie that's sort of about American history.
Sort of. But that was about Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, who wrote the Declaration of Independence.
I understand that Roosevelt came later.
Later, much later, but see, I'm going to go with the truck here. I'm thinking Con Air.
I would say that or The Rock is probably my favorite of Nicolas Cage. Although he's got some, dramas that are quite good as well. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. He's also got a lot of trash.
dramas that are not very good.
Yes, a lot of trash. Hansen hands it off to Cage, and Cage going up the middle. He doesn't find much. Gets himself to the 16, another 2-yard pickup for him. Again, he started with a 40-yard carry, then he had a 6-yard carry, a few plays later an 8-yard carry, and it just seemed like, wow, this is going to be a Roosevelt Cage kind of night. And since then, yardage has been hard to come by. He's having a hard time securing that ball even as he starts that run.
And give credit to Chanhassen, because if you take away the main weapon of a team, you're going to fare pretty well. And that's kind of what Chanhassen's been able to do here tonight.
Absolutely. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right on 3rd and 6. Looking to his left. Hansen gets the pass away. It is incomplete through the hands of the intended target, Sam Wanzek. So that sets up 4th down. And that makes the 5th straight pass that Hansen has gone to Wanzek on. Only one of them has been completed.
And that went through the hands, but the defender is there as well. And
I mean, if he gets a hold of it, that's a first down. Instead, tough 4th down situation for Jefferson. Two receivers left, 1 to the right. Hansen rolling to his left immediately. Gets the pass away. It is just caught by Wanzek. He caught that down by his knees on the fingertips, and then he's able to pull it into his torso and hold on.
that's one of those plays where you're just trying to get to the sideline and get out of bounds, because if he tries to run any further, he might lose this football, and it might be an incomplete pass.
I mean, his leg helped him catch the ball, really.
Certainly it did. But as you watch here, it's mostly just pinning it against your body until you can get out of bounds. And so 1st and goal here for Bloomington Jefferson.
11-yard play for the Jaguars. 30 seconds left in the quarter. Hand off to Cage, running left side. Cage upended a yard shy of the end zone.
That might be the final play of the 3rd quarter. We'll see.
They could rush up and get one more off. We'll see what they do.
Looks like they are in no particular hurry.
Maybe they don't like this end zone. Yeah, it looks like Hansen wants the other side. So he's going to head off the field. We're going to head to a break as well. The 3rd quarter has come to a close. 42-14, Chanhassen in front of the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars. We'll be back for more up next on MC22.
Want to have a go, Owen?
You want to replay it like it's last? Welcome back. The 4th quarter begins with a touchdown by the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars, able to run it in straight up the middle. They only needed that 1 yard. They get it and close the gap a bit. It's now a 22-point game with the play after coming up. They're setting up to go for 2. Hansen from under center. A man comes in motion. That's Freitag over to the right side. Here, fake the handoff. Hansen keeping himself. He flings his body towards the goal line and gets himself over. The 2-point conversion is good for Carter Hansen.
Interesting call there, since that gets them to a 20-point game. They could have kicked the extra point, and it still would have been the 3-touchdown game, but this is one of those scenarios you were talking about earlier where they just wanted to try some things out at this point and and work on some plays, work on some different tactics, and so that's what they did here. And they convert, so 42-22 here with 11:52 to play here in the fourth quarter.
Thanks for your work, gentlemen.
Still a 20-point advantage, however, for Chanhassen. They've looked good tonight. On offense, particularly, they've been able to do just about what they want in the air and on the ground. They've got to be happy with what they're seeing if the coaching staff for this Chanhassen team, they've got to be happy tonight.
I think offensively, both schools have something to be happy about. Obviously, Bloomington Jefferson would like more, but this is a Jaguars team that averaged just 14 points per game last year. Chanhassen also not an offensive powerhouse at 19 points per game last year. So they've been able to find points. The defenses have done some good work. And again, the offense is limited turnovers. Yes, there have been some, but it hasn't been a flood here in this first game like it could be. Here, ball kicked on the ground by Bloomington Jefferson, and Chanhassen catches it at the 35. Good hands upfield by Brandon Radke. And not a surprise, the tight end caught a touchdown earlier in this game.
Chanhassen will have it first and 10 from their own 35-yard line.
And again, this will be a time for Chanhassen too to, at this point of the game, you want to work on some things, try some new tactics out as well. So at 42-22, an opportunity to do that maybe here.
One receiver each side, handoff to Pinkerton. He's been getting all the carries lately, and he's got a big burst of speed out across the 50-yard line. It just looks like guys are there to make the tackle, and he flies right by them. So Pinkerton with a 21-yard carry. That's his longest of the day, and now he's up to 59 yards on 9 carries.
Yeah, just some nice movement, not anything terribly too flashy, but he gets around to the side and then just works his way through.
So into enemy territory go the Chanhassen Storm, and they're still able to get big chunks of yardage even with their starting running back sitting on the sidelines. It's the third run of the game for Pinkerton that's 10 yards or more. One receiver each side. Pinkerton's back in the backfield. He gets the handoff. Looked like he was going to be hit and stripped, and he bounces away from the would-be tacklers early. Doesn't end up getting anywhere with that play. Excuse me, that's not Pinkerton. They made the switch. It's Brady Grandstaff, who had that touchdown earlier. And Grandstaff not given much help by the O-line that time as the defense came pouring through. He lost 5 yards on the play.
No, and that's Tavian Warren coming up. That was a nice play by him. He kind of blew up the play, and whenever you're a running back and you get thrown out of that flow right away, it's hard to recover, and that's what happened there is he got blown off of that initial run, kind of took the play away, and then he was trying to just recover but never was able to do so.
One receiver each side. Dropping back. The pass by Funk deep and over everyone. Incomplete. His intended target on the play was Josh Oak. Oh, I always say Oak. It's Ock. Josh Ock.
Deshaun Fitz and Nate Royer.
So third and long now in the situation.
I'm still surprised to see the team going to the air. I mean, Funk is the starting quarterback. He's been out there throughout the game, and we know that he's a capable passer. But now it seems like the time to run the ball and run the clock. And Pinkerton's had success. Grandstaff has had success. So you've got guys out there who can carry it forward. This ball lost on the ground, picked up by Grandstaff, nowhere to go. And what started as such a strong day for him, now he's just trying to make something out of nothing, and it hasn't gone well. He loses another bunch of yards that time as the ball's pushed all the way back to the 39-yard line.
Well, and for Grandstaff, there's nothing you can do about that. That ball kind of came to him more than he did anything with it, and by the time he picks it up, he's surrounded by a couple of Jaguars.
So a loss of 12 that time for Grandstaff in the end.
Would it be a pack of Jaguars?
I believe so.
Okay.
Here, the snap high, but pulled down, and the kick away by Mao will be left alone. It bounces inside the 30 and is stopped at the 26-yard line.
at 26-yard line. Jefferson has the first 10 from their own.
But if you could tell me what a group of storms is called.
Actually, I just looked it up. It's a shadow. A shadow of Jaguars.
Okay.
So it's not a pack. As opposed to a cackle of hyenas.
Sure.
Or
I think we all knew that one.
Or a smack of jellyfish.
Sure.
So
I don't. That's not true, is it?
it is true. Well, according to the internet.
Well, we have to trust that. 9:46 to go here in the fourth quarter. 42-22, the lead for the Chanhassen Storm here in their home opener, season opener for both sides. Bloomington Jefferson with the ball, trying to see what they can do about closing that 20-point gap. Toss to Cage, and he'll carry ahead to the 30-yard line. It's a 4-yard pickup.
Tackled by number 52, Chris Ewing.
Wouldn't it be a line of storms? There's usually a line of thunderstorms.
Could be.
I suppose that would be it. I'm stuck.
What's that spiky thing called when the weathermen are doing the... Yeah, it's like a curve, and it's got the spike.
Is that the jet stream?
It could be.
Yeah.
Two receivers
Upper level low
left.
pressure system.
Is that what the jet sweep is called when Chanhassen runs it? Is it the jet stream? Here's a pass. It is juggled and caught. Pulled in by Sam Wanzek. Wanzek's got open field ahead, and this is a 70-yard touchdown for Bloomington Jefferson.
And look out, but all of a sudden Bloomington Jefferson is closed back to within 2 scores here. Still 9 minutes to go. And a great play there. A really acrobatic play by Wanzek. And a nice throw over the middle. As we watch here, Hansen dropping back, rolling back. He
looked left to start, and then he came back to the right, and Wanzek ahead of the defender, able to just get that in his mitts.
Well, and the key was he was able to set his feet, which allowed him to make a good throw over the middle. Wanzek was able to tip it to himself, and once he was able to control it, there was nobody that was going to catch him.
That looked like a designed fake. A pass is caught, but it is shy of the goal line. So the 2-point conversion attempt is no good, but the 70-yard score is, and again, it's a 42-28 game with just under 9 minutes to play.
And since they had gone for 2 the previous time and gotten it, they are still within just the traditional 2 scores with 8:57. I've got to question a little bit whether what's maybe going on with their kicking game here. Maybe they, I don't know if their kicker is hurt or got hurt sometime in the second quarter maybe or something, because the last couple of times they've gone for 2 here when they may not have had to traditionally at least. So maybe this is just a cognitive decision, but going for 2 the last couple of times.
Bloomington Jefferson did kick it on the ground the last time around. It wasn't a true onside kick. They were just hoping for something awkward to happen. Do they get into that mode now? With, again, just shy of 9 minutes to play, and now this game a little bit more within reach. So again, most of that play went the way they wanted. It's just the tight end was not in the end zone at the end. A yard or 2 short was Harrison Chapel. So Aiden Atkins ready. And Atkins puts it on the ground again. He puts it right at the man in front of him, and able to squeeze hold of it is Cooper Hansen. Nice job by the senior cornerback.
And so with that, they might have been looking for something to happen, but with the quick cover-up, this gives some good field position here for Chanhassen. And we are back into a situation where, this game could go sideways yet on the Chanhassen Storm if things kind of unravel a little bit. So now we are in another situation, much like the beginning of the second half. This becomes a critical defensive stand potentially for Bloomington Jefferson.
1 receiver each side for the Chanhassen Storm. Funk from under center. Fakes the handoff, now rolling, big pressure on him. He gets a pass away, it is incomplete. The receiver seemed like he came out of nowhere because it looked like that ball was to the man running deep down the left sidelines, and it was a desperate fling, but running underneath it was Will Schleicher.
And Schlager just unable to come up with this, and so 2nd down and 10. This was a game that a lot of us probably thought was kind of out of reach, and so it's sometimes not so easy to turn the gears back on after you think you've kind of got something in hand. And so we'll have to watch this for Chanhassen here with 8:49 to go.
One of the other signs that this game has changed is that back on the field is Jason Collins.
Yep.
It looked like his night might have been done, but he is back at the running back position. Man goes in motion, handoff, and good opportunity, and then making more of it than I thought there was available is Charlie Coonan. Coonan carries it across midfield for a 7-yard pickup.
Yeah, this looked like this was going to be a no-gain play initially. You watch here, another low snap. Coonan initially keeps going east-west, and didn't look like there was much there, and he looked like maybe a leg tackle was wrapped up about the 47-yard line, and then he pushed forward for another 3 or 4 yards after that. So Coonan as well. We didn't hear his name too much in the last quarter or half quarter, but he too back part of the offense in the game plan.
2 receivers left, 1 to the right. From the right hash on 3rd down and 3, the Storm set with Funk out of the gun. Quick pass left side, his man is open, bobbles it but holds on, then spins forward, gets to the 40. It's an 8-yard pickup and a first down. So Kirkhoff on the catch.
Chanhassen may have gotten away with something. Looked like Caleb Scholl may have shifted early on the play, and you could see on the far side the Jaguar coaches were calling for some movement, but the call was not made, and the first down was completed by the Chanhassen Storm. So, again, an opportunity gained here for the Storm, and the first down is complete here, and the clock runs now, 7:35 and counting.
2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. From the left hash, handoff, and room ahead for the mainstay running back. Jason Collins taking it towards the end zone. He's in. Touchdown. His second 40-plus yard TD of the game. This one for 41.
And you can see, we talked about how maybe Chanhassen would struggle to turn the Jets back on, but that's exactly what Collins did for 41 yards, and they've opened this back up to a 20-point lead pending the extra point, and you can see Collins strutting his way into the end zone for Chanhassen.
Kick after is up, and it is good. The kick there. Put through by Dimitri McDougal, and McDougal, we talked about the left-handed quarterbacks. He's a lefty kicker.
Don't forget Storm fans, next Friday night, Chanhassen hosts.
So with that kick after, it's a 49-28 game with 7:22 remaining. We thought, this is probably Coonan's player of the game easily, but you look at Collins now, 14 carries, 168 yards. That's 12 yards a carry, throwing 2 touchdowns, and he's had an outstanding game. Coonan, 3 catches, 66 yards and a touchdown to go along with his 89-yard touchdown on the kickoff. So it's been a battle of excellence for those 2 players throughout the course of this evening.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fruitful night offensively for Chanhassen, and as well with the special teams. Anytime you're going to get a kick return for a touchdown, that's a bonus for anything that you're going to do offensively. That just takes all the pressure off and also puts even more pressure on the defense of the opponents. They don't even get a chance to defend that, and yet they lose on the scoreboard. And so Chanhassen, they've just done more right here in this first game than Jefferson, and they're serving the benefits of it, up by 21 here in the fourth quarter.
Storm just a hair away from 400 yards on offense today, but it's the Jaguars who are coming out on offense now. Freitag takes the kickoff and moves towards the left, stiff arms a man to get across the 35, and he is spun down. Nope, not as quickly as we thought. The play continued. He wasn't truly taken down, and he crossed the 40-yard line. Take another look. He starts all the way inside the right hash from our view, and he cuts the long way to the left. That usually doesn't prove particularly fruitful, but this time it does. And I can see why he thought he might not be down, but I'm guessing he was back there. They're marking him up across the 40, though. So they're saying the knee did not go down.
Yeah, he might have just rolled over the defender. Remember, you're not down if you're rolling on top of the defender. And there, he's not down there. He's not down there. He's not down there. He was never down.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Correct. He never touched the ground with his knee. And so he deserved every yard he got there.
He got all the way up to the 43, so the Jaguars with good field position. 7:09 to go in the fourth quarter. Two receivers right, one to the left from the left hash under center. Hansen handing off. Cage going left side. Cage to the 45, falls forward to the 46, a 3-yard pickup. That was the 20th carry of the game for Cage, and it started so big with that 40-yard run, and since then, the other 19 have accounted for 47 yards.
Yep, give credit to Chanhassen. They've zeroed in on him, and they have really negated him from the game plan.
Two receivers right, one to the left. From the left hash, it's Hansen looking to his receivers right. He drops back, and he wants to pass that way. Gets the pass to Freitag, makes the catch, makes a move around a defender, and crosses midfield. Close to a first down, but a bit shy, it looks like. Maybe a yard shy as they mark him at the 48. It's a 6-yard pickup.
When you are playing that close to the receiver, that's the whole goal for the receiver. Make that first man miss, and then once you do that, you're going to have some room behind it. That's what Freitag did. Watch here, the nice move. Got the defensive back shifting the wrong way, number 32, Kurt Schaefer. And once he had that first man miss, he was able to get another 6 or 7 yards out of that play.
We had a QB sneak after that went for 3 yards to push the ball up to the 45-yard line, so it is a first down for the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars. Two receivers left, one to the right. They specifically announce a player coming back out on defense. Here, Cage looking to go to the right. He gets by one man and then is tackled hard by the next. Looks like he will lose a half yard on that play.
Good pursuit here coming up. Initially, number 20 will catch him, the free safety, taking away any sort of seam for Cage, and that allows Alec Karstens, the linebacker, to come up and make the stop.
I really thought Will would catch him, but no, he just pushed him out and someone else had to get the tackle in the end. Two receivers to the right, one to the left from the left hash. 5:15 remaining as Hansen takes the snap. Fake the handoff, gets a pass over the middle. It is incomplete. He was looking for Freitag on that second down play.
And again, strong throw here by Hansen, but just over the top of everybody. And so third down.
Third down 11 for Jefferson.
Jefferson with Freitag and Wanzek over to the right side. Before that last catch by Freitag, as I talked about, 7 straight pass attempts to Wanzek from Hansen. Hansen rolling to his left, wants to go that way, throws it deep towards the left sideline, incomplete, and that'll bring up fourth down.
That time the pump fake from Hansen, neither of the defensive backs bid on it, and so well covered. You can see here Hansen quick pump fake, and sometimes those pump fakes, if you do them too often, you're just not going to get any reaction out of it, and the defense no longer abides by it, and so fourth down.
Pass was intended for Chop, by the way. On fourth down and 11. Two receivers right, one to left. Same formation they had last time from this left hash mark. Hansen calling it out, now steps to the line. Might be changing things up. Stands back next to Roosevelt Cage. High snap, able to get it to Hansen. Hansen then throws downfield, has his man. It is caught near the 32-yard line. And with that, we've got a first down. They did go back to Austin Krupp, and he makes the catch.
A nice play there by Hansen. He didn't allow that high snap to affect him, and really didn't throw the timing off of that play as well. He did a nice job of keeping composed and picking up the first down.
That was the 30th pass of the game for the QB Hansen. 15-yard connection. Hands off to Cage this time. Cage bouncing it towards the left side. Stiff arms a man, gets hit by another. He is hard to bring down and is finally ankle tackled near the 20-yard line.
Nice delayed handoff there as we watch on the replay. And it looks like initially Cage is going to take off to the left, but turns around on the delayed handoff and kind of threw off the defense a bit and allowed him some room to run. And once he gets going, he is, like you said, tough to bring down.
It's interesting to look at the contrast. We talked about the big numbers for Coonan and the big numbers for Collins in this game. You look at Cage. He's got 97 yards, just shy of 100, but it's taken him 22 carries. They've been hard yards. Here's Hansen, who collects the ball, running all over the place, throws it downfield. This is in and out of the hands of a defender as it hit him right between the numbers. Was that Brian Santana Mendiola, I believe, downfield?
That was a collection of things is what that was. Hansen picks it up. He's one-handing it and then rolls around. He's just trying to make something out of nothing. That got tipped around. And then, as you mentioned, number 66, Brian Santana Mendiola, unable to come up with it. And so second down.
Two receivers right, one to the left from the left hash. Hansen looks right, passes left, incomplete as that slipped through the hands of Krupp.
Austin Trupp, the intended receiver.
4:06 remaining in the fourth quarter, 49-28. 2.5 hours in. This has been a long game with all the scoring that we've had and all the passing that we continue to have. Again, 32 passing attempts for the quarterback of the Bloomington Jefferson Jaguars. Two receivers right, one to the left. Handoff is lost. It's on the field and quickly fallen on by Chanhassen. There's the turnover. The Jaguars lose this ball as they were headed into the red zone.
Yeah, Cage just never had any handle on it. It looked like the ball popping out. He just never had a chance to pick up that ball, and looked like Reed Gazinski, the sophomore linebacker, was waiting to pick that one up and cover it up. And so Chanhassen, with less than 4 minutes to go, up by 3 touchdowns. I would assume that maybe we will see the air taken out of it here at this point to start to run this clock out and get the first victory in the books, but we'll wait and see.
So when I said that it might happen with 10 minutes left in the third quarter, I was a little bit off.
You were a little ahead of the game on that one.
All right, well, 21-point game now, 49-28. Chanhassen on top. We'll see what they do to salt this away. Two receivers to the left, one to the right from the right hash. Funk hands it off, and it's a run up the middle. They'll push him out across the 20. Bursts out. It's Pinkerton with some space to the right sideline. Pinkerton trying to get past one more defender, and he's tackled down near the 40-yard line. Looks like a 40-yard pickup for Pinkerton.
Looks like we might have an injury. Looks like maybe number 78, Avery Espy, is down for Bloomington Jefferson way back. He got buried on the initial play there. But Pinkerton, he just kind of snuck through there, and it seemed like maybe everybody was tackling everybody else but the ball carrier, and Pinkerton was able to sneak through and get all the way down to about the 42-yard line. And
they marked him at the 40 because he fell down kind of on top of the tackler before going out of bounds. I've got him for 10 carries and 99 yards. We'll hope the official stat book has one more for him so he can cross that century mark with Collins today. We are waiting right now as we do have an injury. It's another thing that has slowed this game down a bit to open the season, the number of injuries we've had. Again, everyone's been able to get up and walk off under their own power, so we're hoping nothing has been extremely serious here. But
well, it's been a nice job tonight. We've talked about a lot of the offensive weapons. Jason Collins, of course, for Chanhassen. We've talked about Brendan Radke as well. We've seen a lot of nice plays from Charlie Coonan, obviously, with 3 touchdowns tonight. But I've been impressed with Pinkerton, and he comes in. He kind of cleans up the job. That's kind of like his namesake back in the Civil War, the Pinkerton Guards, who were they were kind of the detectives of the Civil War. They come in and they clean up the job, and that's what he's been able to do tonight.
How about Riley Funk? I mean, this is a guy that it feels like has run this offense and made it look easy throughout the course of the night. Some good passes to set up plays or to score the touchdowns, and then just handing it off to what was a strong running back. But really, they've got 3 different guys who have shown something special here tonight because Grandstaff has put 1 in the end zone. Collins has put 2 in there. And Pinkerton just had a 40-yard run on his 10th carry.
Yeah, I mean, he is, when you've got some of the weapons that we've seen here tonight, both on the ground. Obviously, somebody's got to get the ball to people in the air. Funk has really managed the game well tonight, I think is what you could say. And I think that kind of underestimates a little bit what he has done, because I think he's done more than just manage the game. But he hasn't made any mistakes, and he's put the ball in a position to be caught when he's thrown the football. It hasn't always been caught, but he's put the ball in position to be caught, and hasn't made too many mistakes on handoffs or anything like that. So he has managed the game well for his team.
Well, Funk is 8 for 12 for 132 yards. Here's a run up the middle for Pinkerton, and Pinkerton gets 5 more. He's officially over 100, I'll say, with that carry. And that's the kind of play that's going to move the clock as we get down to 3:10 remaining, and it's still moving.
And Chanhassen will be in no particular hurry now. They would prefer if they would just hold on to the ball probably throughout the rest of this contest and just run the clock out if they can.
2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Handoff Pinkerton up the middle. Pinkerton going down that sideline, or excuse me, the hash marks. He put a nice spin move in along the way and gets himself all the way to the 20. It's a 15-yard pickup.
Yeah, just weaving his way through, and a nice spin move in there, breaks away from a tackle. And these Chanhassen Storm have some players that are difficult to bring down. We've talked about Cage. When he gets moving, he's hard to bring down for Bloomington Jefferson, but Pinkerton's very similar, that once he gets moving, it's going to take a couple of different guys to stop him, and that's what we saw here.
329 rushing yards for the Chanhassen offense tonight. 2:25 and ticking here in the fourth quarter. 2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Funk has a man come in motion, hands it off, and nowhere to go in the backfield that time. Nicely done by the defense. So Uriel ripped down by Tavian Warren, and Uriel loses a couple of yards.
Hey, Storm fans, let's give a huge shout out to these cheerleaders tonight. They've done a great job.
The final 2 minutes of this one.
Nice job.
That's the clock running. You mentioned the fans. They've been loud here tonight for Chanhassen. They've all they're trying to augment the numbers with cowbells here tonight, and so that's been one of the strategies maybe of the home crowd tonight.
Cheerleaders have been out and loud throughout this game, all wearing their masks throughout. Hand off to Pinkerton, looking for some room up the middle, and he'll get 3 yards on that play. I forgot that he'd been pushed back, or the offense had been pushed back, but yeah, he gets forward for 3. So Pinkerton now 1 less carry than Collins in this game. About 46 yards difference between the two of them, because Collins finished with 2 40-plus yard runs on his last 2 carries. But Pinkerton has a 40-plus yard run in this game as well. And again, we've talked about the skill position players, but you don't rack up that kind of yardage with so many different guys if the O-line isn't doing their job, and those guys are putting hats on helmets throughout. Sweeping this one to the right side, and a little bit of space if he can get by one more defender, but then tripped up is Andrew Uriel.
That might be our final play of the day.
7 yards for Uriel.
Good run by Uriel around the right end. Got some blocking by his receivers on the far side.
Yeah, no more reason to run any plays, so the clock will tick down. These final 10 seconds come off in what is a 49-28 victory for the Chanhassen Storm to open this 2020 season. What a win for the Storm. They give up a touchdown to start, and then after that they roll throughout the course of this evening. It's a high-scoring affair, but it's the Storm who had more ammunition in the end to get the victory over Bloomington Jefferson. We'll be back in a moment to go through our play and player of the game here on MC22.
All right, Storm fans, that is a win for the Chanhassen Storm as they dominate Jefferson 49-28 in the first game of the 2020 season. The Chan Storm had 2 rushers with over 100 yards in Jason Collins and Tucker Pinkerton as Riley Funk stepped up to the role tonight, took the role as starting QB and dominated. Charlie Coonan, another breakout player, 3 TDs for just over 150 yards. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Roll Storm.